Stream is supposedly recording now. Switch of screens. All right, gentlemen. Thank you for joining me in the launch of a new series, Star Trek Adiona. I just have some disclaimers to say, both for the benefit of my players and for those who might be watching at home. So, this is a brand new campaign with mostly fresh faces. In fact, the only one that you might recognize is our CMO, who is joining us from the Arcadia crew. And with that in mind, I'd like to say that some players have had experience with Star Trek Adventures in Roll20 before, but others have not. So I'm going to be doing my best to explain things along the way, but at the same time, mistakes are going to happen. It's sort of inevitable. It's all sort of the learning process, and even though I've been GMing Star Trek Adventures for better part of a year now, I still make mistakes myself. So we'll work through them, and we'll sort of enact Rule Zero as needed. The other sort of minor announcement I have, and this is mostly for those who watch my channel at large, the Star Trek Arcadia is moving to a bi-weekly schedule, or every other week if you prefer to think of it that way. That is just due to scheduling conflicts, and hopefully it will work out. More details on that if needed. But I think we are actually ready for me to jump into the opening monologue of Adiona. So let's kind of put our imagination hats on and jump right in. So, the year is 2381. Approximately 10 years ago, an alien from the Andromeda galaxy was discovered floating adrift in the Shackleton Expanse by the USS Arcadia. She had little memory of her past life, only that she used to be some sort of a simple farmer. However, her species possessed such advanced medical technology and knowledge that even quote-unquote farmers like her outclassed any doctors Starfleet had to offer. Eventually, this alien took up the name Andromeda and served aboard the Arcadia as a medical specialist before eventually joining the Daystrom Institute. Now, I don't think I need to point it out, but there pretty much existed no means of returning Andromeda to her people until the USS Ophion discovered a subspace portal that led to the Andromeda Galaxy in 2378. Following this, the USS Lysithea was sent on a 2-year pathfinding mission through this quote-unquote Pandora's Gate in 2379. The Lysithea's mission was to gather as much information and possible allies within the Andromeda Galaxy, while Starfleet's best and brightest engineers continued to work on a vessel capable of both stable and safe usage of quantum slipstream drive, or QSD. For if what Andromeda remembers is true, her people are located at the center of her namesake's galaxy. That is a journey of over 100,000 light years, one even greater than Voyager's, and that is just in one direction. QSD, or something like it, is all but essential in order to make the trip in one lifetime. So, in a bid to copy an already successful design capable of QSD, the engineers at Utopia Planitia have produced a Dauntless-class vessel christened the Adiona, after the Roman goddess of safe return. The Adiona is equipped with the latest and greatest technology for QSD use, as well as other facilities to make the journey to the core of the Andromeda Galaxy possible. Now, we are on the eve of a mission that has been 10 years in the making. And it is at this point that we're going to sort of start to introduce our characters to one another and sort of introduce you into the game. So I'm going to start with the captain. And Captain, I know you have a log. But once you are done reading your log, if you could tell us your character's name, any visual or physical characteristics you'd like us to know about them, and then anything else you'd like to, say for flavor that the players would know. And then once you've done that, there is a small opportunity for you to do a scene of your choice before a shuttle comes to pick you up. And that's going to extend to everyone else, and we're pretty much going to work our way down the Discord list. So, Captain, if you would start us off.
All right, well, name's Preston Evans. I'll be playing Captain Clifton Williams, recently given the command of his first ship since being a first officer on his former craft, which will probably come up in storytelling here. But a man of decent physical stature, since he's primarily kind of modeled after a pararescueman, to go in with the security division, do medical if need be, and pull people out of harm's way. And now I guess, due to the nature of this, you kind of want somebody who can pull you out of the fire. It has that motivation built into him to run this kind of a thing. And I guess I would just go ahead straight into the log if you want.
Yeah, that'll work.
Captain's log, stardate 58101.2. I'm expecting to make it to my new duty assignment today. The Adiona is supposed to be the fastest ship in the fleet, that it's leaps and bounds ahead of anything else we've done already. This quantum slipstream drive system is fresh off the blueprint. The crew is going to be pretty green as well, but these kids look pretty sharp based on what I'm reading. I'm a bit anxious to know how they're going to go about with me being in charge instead of a standard science officer or something. All my affairs are in order. Nothing really to hold me back here, so I can't wait to get back to work now. If you just get my shuttle to show up.
Okay. So what are you doing while you're waiting for the shuttle to pick you up?
I guess I'm just going over the specs of this, considering, I'm mainly a first aid officer and tactical. Getting myself straight with the engineering of this thing is going to be to my benefit. So I'm mainly just looking over the specs of the ship to make sure I'm sharp.
Okay. And again, out of curiosity, and I promise I won't drill you this hard later, but where would you be on Earth while you're doing this? Just out of curiosity.
I'd probably be coming out of headquarters because of my assignment and everything else, just making sure that my crew roster and everything else is in order so I can start looking over things. So I'd probably be waiting to go from headquarters in San Francisco directly up to the ship.
Okay. In that case, you're going to get a chirp on your communicator, and over the comms, a female says, "This is Lieutenant Zava to Captain Williams. Are you reading me, sir?"
This is Williams. Go ahead.
"I have taken the liberty of bringing down our shuttle from the Adiona to pick you up at your convenience. If you could rendezvous with me at the following coordinates," and she gives you a set of coordinates.
All right, I'll be heading there presently.
All right. And I'm going to put us on this for the rest of the Theater of the Mind sessions. All right, so that is the captain handled. Up next, we have our first officer, Commander Morgan. So, same kind of thing, Morgan. Tell us about your character and what you're doing.
So, hello, I'm Wolfdog. I'm going to be playing Commander Lucas Morgan. So, he is a fiery human redhead that is eager to make it to Andromeda. Unlike our captain, he's mostly been trained to be the diplomat in life. His most valued idols are people like Judge Aram Sati and the exploits of Captain Picard. And so, since we're going to a incredibly new galaxy, Starfleet will absolutely need diplomats and people on the way to create new and possibly mend some uncertain ties.
Okay. And where would you be waiting your shuttle pickup? And would you be doing anything in particular?
I'd probably actually be going over all the data that we actually have on Andromeda and continuously reading the action report after Starfleet found Andromeda, trying to make sure I could absorb the culture and everything possible to prepare me for my encounter.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, would you also be at headquarters, or would you be somewhere different?
Is the ship currently in orbit around Earth, or is it at Utopia Planitia?
It is at Utopia Planitia.
Okay, then I'd probably be someplace on Earth, probably also at headquarters, probably in the engineering section, walking past the old remnants of the Pathfinder project to give myself some inspiration.
Ah, very nice. Well, in that case, since you're also at headquarters, you're going to get the same lieutenant calling you. And again, it's Lieutenant Zarva, and she says, "Commander Morgan, my name is Lieutenant Zava. I'm here to take you and the rest of the senior staff up to the Adiona. If you could meet me at the following coordinates, please, sir."
Acknowledged, Lieutenant. I'm on my way.
All right. And then, you know what, I'll just ask this up front. Who else would be at headquarters?
Well, I would be inside my current living quarters, so I think I might be.
Okay. All right, so introduce yourself and tell us about Havoc.
I am Soup. I will be playing Mari Havoc Johnson, the senior engineer and chief engineer of the Adiona. I am a freed Borg who is female, blonde hair, and only about 5 foot 2 inches, so not exactly the tallest of women.
Okay. And you
And
said you were in your personal quarters. What were you doing?
in my I am currently in my personal quarters looking over as much information on the Adiona's engine systems as well as the current experimental technology inside the ship, and grimacing as every single time I see my Borg arm, it reminds me of my time enslaved by the Borg. Um, on the side, I would be disassembling and reassembling several pieces of tech in order to keep myself calm and to keep myself grounded as I look over the experimental technology, which I have been briefed on, but I haven't gotten as much time as I wanted to look over.
Okay, understood. Just for both the sake of visualization and for my housekeeping, remind me which of your limbs are still quote unquote Borgified.
The left arm and both legs.
Okay. Alrighty. So yeah, as you can expect, based on the previous two, you get a call from lovely Zava, and she says, Lieutenant Commander, I'm here to take you to the Adiona.
Acknowledged. Where exactly do you want me to find you?
At the coordinates, blah, 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 blah.
Acknowledged.
Alright. And that leaves, because Galen is on the ship already, so that leaves Merrick and Mayweather. Are either of you also at headquarters?
Not I.
I am.
Okay, so why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, and we'll go from there.
My name is Roy. I'll be playing Lieutenant Anthony Mayweather, the ship's flight controller officer. And he is a direct descendant of Travis Mayweather. He's a 33-year-old African American male. I will be looking at the rest of my goodbye messages. The last one is from my grandmother Tess. It has 3 quotes. The first one being, "No matter where you go, there you are." The second quote is, "One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." And the third says, "To know your future, you have to understand your past." And there are 2 replicator attachments. The first is the dedication plate of the boomer transport from the where Travis Mayweather's family first flight to stars, so he could replicate it and hang it up. And the second is a little drawing from his 2 nieces, which is a little wagon train from the 19th century with the Starfleet logo on it that says, "Take us to your leader, we come in peace," with a little spiral and an arrow that says, "To Andromeda or bust."
I like it. All right.
And he makes sure everything is packed, and he picks up, and then he goes to the location for the shuttle.
Okay. So in that case, we're actually going to have you 4 come together, since you all were kind of at the same spot, and then we'll get to Merrick and Galen. So just as it so happens, the 4 of you more or less arrive at the same time, and you are at one of the shuttle landing pads just outside of headquarters. You see waiting for you is a Ryzian female that is wearing Operations Gold, and behind her is a Type 9 shuttlecraft. And she sort of waves you on over and says, Captain, Commander, Lieutenant, come over this way.
Yeah, I won't worry about greeting anybody until I get shoulder to shoulder with them, because I'm just trying to get everybody in the shuttle for now.
Okay.
So I'll try to get in front so they don't have to worry about popping salutes.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll say then, for the sake of argument, and again, feel free to interrupt me, the 4 of you kind of pile into the back, and Zava, goes to the pilot's seat, has the ramp begin to ascend and seal itself off, and kind of looks back at you all and says, "We have to pick up our lovely science officer on the way. Please enjoy the ride." And you all feel the shuttlecraft come to life, the very subtle rumble of the engines through the deck plates as it lifts up into the air and begins soaring off through the atmosphere. And there's we'll say about 5 minutes for you guys to RP if you so wish.
So I'll make sure to introduce myself to the captain. Good afternoon, Captain.
Commander,
Been eager
good
to
to
meet
see
you
you.
for quite some time.
Good to see you, Commander. I trust there's everything that's in your bio here for me to read. Nothing left out of the paperwork.
Yes, sir. But in the unlikely event that something is left out, you can always ask me.
Don't worry, I'll find out what I need. But well, this goes without saying that I trust you guys. But this is a pretty fresh crew, so we may have to drop the hammer a little bit, but not too much for when we get there. But let's see, who else is in here? Mayweather, is it?
Sir?
Yes, saw your credentials. Don't break my ship, okay?
He breaks the ship, I break him.
If you need me to fly like a Condormium bat out of a fiery place, or a supernova, shall we say, I may have to redline the engines just a little bit, but better singed than burnt to a crisp.
A simple yes, sir will suffice.
I give Mayweather the don't break my ship look.
Okay.
Is it I see there's is it Havoc?
Yes, sir.
It's a bit unusual for a moniker. Nevertheless, have you by chance seen the ship yet?
I haven't been able to go on the ship myself, but I've been given full blueprints of the entirety of it.
Well, I have no doubt you'll be sufficient once we get on the ship. But yeah, if you discover something out of the specs, not so much wrong, but something that we may be able to improve on, please don't hesitate to shoot me a message about it if it doesn't come up in a normal briefing or so. I'm kind of interested.
I give a very, very short nod.
Alrighty, so I'm gonna sit in the seat now, relax. Just tell me when we get there.
Understood, sir. And before we get to Merrick, I think it's good if we actually cut to Galen. So Galen, if you could introduce yourself, please.
Hello, my name is Shizno. I play Commander Carly in Arcadia, and I'll be playing the Chief Medical Officer in this game as Galen Mark 11. Galen is slightly taller than a typical human. He stands about 6'2". He best description I can give him, if you've ever seen Aliens, he looks like Walter or David. I always get them two mixed up. Michael Fassbender. He always has a nice soft smile to him, and he always keeps his hands tucked behind his back. And he's currently in the sick bay talking with a few ensigns, directing them and guiding them to where he wants his supplies stored. Medical supplies and other supplies he's been given authorization to have aboard. He's just putzing around, making sure everything's up to shape and everything is stocked properly. He is waiting, though, to be notified when the command staff will be getting closer or boarding the ship.
Okay. Either I didn't hear it, or you forgot to say it. What species are you?
Oh, yes. Galen is a hologram, a sentient one.
Alrighty. And just so everybody, both as a player and viewer standpoint, he does have a mobile emitter. It's not as great as the Doctor from Voyagers, his 29th century one, but it's still enough that Galen can, in fact, go on away missions with you guys. And as it so happens, the Adiona is equipped through all of its decks with a holo emitter suite, so Galen doesn't need the emitter to go throughout the ship, unless for whatever reason the emitters are offline.
Ship has no power.
Yeah, ship has no power. He's not
Disabled
going
it in certain sections.
I will say his immobile emitter, since it is not as advanced, it is a armband. Goes right around his arm.
Okay. All right. And, as you're sort of looking around, supervising, one of the ensigns, a nameless red shirt for the time being, sort of stumbles and drops a crate. And spilling out of the crate are several vials of solutions which are used for anestazine and other very common sort of medical injections. And, as he trips, and luckily nothing breaks when the crate falls to the floor and opens, but he kind of looks up at you and says, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I didn't see where I was going, and let me clean this up."
Have you been working a lot today?
Yes, sir. We were told to be ready to leave by 1900 hours.
How long have you been on your feet, Ensign?
Since 0400, sir.
And what's the time now, Ensign?
1600, I believe.
I'll help you clean up, but I want you to take a rest. Go have a break.
He looks extremely relieved because he knows that you, as the CMO, when you say that, that is an order and he has an excuse. So he looks very relieved, but he also says, "Of course, sir. Thank you, sir." And, you two begin to clean up. And while that's going on, we finally go to Lieutenant Merrick. So, Merrick, if you would introduce yourself and tell us what you're doing.
Hello, my name is Sterling Mithril. I'll be playing Lieutenant Merrick, science officer who will be manning the ops position. Merrick is a Vulcan, little over 6 feet tall, but rather lanky. And he's rather young for a Vulcan. So basically, where he would be at this moment is approaching Dr. Braun's office or a communication station to get in touch with her.
Okay. Let's have it be her office in particular. So, how do I want to say this?
So I would approach her, approach the office, and ring the little chime, and have several pads in my hand,
Okay.
and ask for permission to enter.
Of course, you hear her say, "Come in, come in, come in."
Hello, Doctor.
Ah. So you, as would be appropriate for one of Starfleet's top engineers, you see that her office is just covered with all sorts of schematics, models, diagrams, pads, holograms, everything in between. It's sort of organized chaos. And go ahead.
Side note: she's my mentor.
There you go. So as you walk in, she looks up at you and says, "Ah, Merrick, I was hoping I'd get a chance to talk to you before you left. Sit there." And she points at one of the chairs that has not a whole lot of things on it for the moment.
He sits at the chair and reaches for one of his pads and begins to hand it across to her. Doctor, here is the latest results and analysis of the QS drive test that was performed on the Adiona last.
She takes the pad, looks it over, kind of tilts her head to the side and says, that's a noticeable increase of 0.001. Still within acceptable tolerance, but I would maybe coordinate with your chief engineer just to be extra safe.
I will bring it to their attention.
Oh, give me 1 second. A jet is flying over.
Dr. Browns, I would also like to take this moment to express my appreciation for all the guidance you have provided me.
Well, you have proven to be a eager and capable mentee. I only hope that half of my teachings made it through to you. Perhaps bet more, if that's possible.
He gives a slight smile.
Oh, and one thing I did want to tell you before you left. And she actually does look a little bit more serious at this point, and that's saying something for Brahms because she sort of has quote-unquote resting bitch face, in my opinion, but you get the idea. She just kind of looks at you and says, "Whatever you do, do not perform field calibrations of the QSD without approving it after several simulations. We don't need another Voyager incident."
That is understood, Doctor.
Very good. Well, I believe the appropriate thing to do is send you off with a toast. So, give me a moment. Sort of rummages through her desk, produces 2 shot glasses and a bottle of brandy, an unlabeled bottle, so you have no idea what vintage it is. And, pours a small little shot for the both of you, and she sort of hands you one, takes the other, and sort of holds it in the air and says, "To new beginnings."
To new beginnings. And he would courteously drink it.
Yeah, I think she poured you just enough where she wasn't expecting you to take like a full shot, but enough that, the social norm would be met, kind of a thing. And not a moment after you finish your drink, you do get a chirp on your communicator, and it is Lieutenant Zava. And she says, "Lieutenant Zava to Lieutenant Merrick, are you reading me?
Yes, Lieutenant.
We will be coming to pick you up in about 5 minutes. Please meet us at the following coordinates."
Understood.
Zava out. And yeah, at this point, how do you leave the office, I guess, is the question.
Just a nice, gentle hug, I guess.
Okay.
I know it's not the right thing to do, but that's how it ended.
Okay. I would think you being Brahms' mentee, she would see the gesture for what it is and, kind of gingerly hug you back and says, "Good luck out there. I get the feeling you're going to need it."
Good luck to you, too.
All right.
And he departs.
Okay. So yeah, for those of you on the shuttle, you feel it kind of temporarily touch down on some pad, and the back door opens, and sure enough, Lieutenant Merrick is there waiting for you.
He looks and reviews the ranks, basically, and he notes the captain's bars.
Mm-hmm.
Captain, Lieutenant Merrick, reporting for duty.
As you were. All right, guys, get off my shuttle so I can get out of here.
He'll take a seat somewhere.
All right, so once everyone's sort of situated, again, the back ramp closes, and this time there is a sharp pitch upwards that is temporarily, because obviously inertial dampeners are amazing, so it's just a very brief feeling of moving upwards, but out of the front viewport you would see that the shuttle is rapidly ascending out of the atmosphere. And I can now put you guys on this page. So, the trip to Utopia Planitia is actually fairly short, and eventually you are able to see the fleet yards out of the viewport. And it takes you guys, a little bit of searching, but soon you would identify the dock holding the Adiona. The 205-meter-long ship looks exactly like the one Voyager encountered on Stardate 51978 on the outside. On the inside, though, you know that all 7 of the decks have been filled to the brim with Starfleet's best scientific and pathfinding equipment. You'll share this ship with 66 crewmen, including yourselves, all of which are, like you, handpicked for this very mission. And I did want to give you all just a brief few moments to maybe do the, "oh look, it's the ship" moment, if you so wish to.
Captain is obviously staying seated in his seat. He's kind of trying to stay relaxed for a bit.
Okay.
I begin reading one of my pads.
Okay.
Well, the commander is wild-eyed, and he's looking out the window because he's excited for this new adventure. He also has a bit of naivete.
All right.
I'm just chuckling at the reaction of the naive man as he looks at the ship for the first time.
All right. Okay. So, with that in mind, it's actually another maybe 2 minutes, if that, for Zava to bring the shuttle into the Adiona shuttle bay. And this time, when the shuttle sets down, you hear it winding down. And as the back hatch opens, you are met with a blast of cool air Interestingly, it seems that the shuttle bay is being kept at a 5 degrees centigrade cooler temperature than the Starfleet norm. But other than that, interior of the shuttle bay looks good. Nothing's exploding.
Yet.
I wait for the captain to get off first.
Nah, Captain's getting off last on purpose.
I immediately get off.
Okay. So as you all are filtering off in your own ways, Zava will sort of hang back with the captain, but she will say, if any of you need guides to your duty stations, I would be happy to take you to them. However, sir, and looks at the captain, I did want to let you know that Admiral Astier is already on board and will be joining us as far as Deep Space Daedalus. With that said, she is also ready to perform the change of command ceremony. However, you do have someone you need to talk to first, or so says the Admiral.
Yeah, I figured as much. I'll go ahead there first. Does she need the EXO there as well or no?
She said that would be to your discretion. You would be meeting with our prime, I guess the word would be cargo?
Actually, yeah, I want to bring the EXO with me for that at least. Let's go handle that first, and then I'll touch base with the Admiral.
Very good, sir. Would you care for me to escort you to the conference room, or would you care for me to do something else?
Yes, if you please.
Very good. All right, so out of curiosity, would any of you be following them up to the bridge at the very least?
I will.
Okay.
Yes, I would.
Okay. And not to leave you out, Galen, but you have now just gotten a ping that the captain and the rest of the senior staff are on board. All right. So, the conference room being attached to the bridge in some, or at least on the same deck as the bridge anyway, you do sort of have to pass through it to get there. So we're just going to very briefly take a look at our lovely new bridge. And yeah, it's a fairly small bridge, all things considered. It's definitely not as big as even a Nova class. I would say that this bridge is probably more Defiant sized, sort of speaking to the very miniature nature of the ship. And as you sort of look around, I would point out just basically where your tokens are where your duty stations is. So obviously, Captain, you've got the center chair. Commander Morgan, you've got that console to his left, viewer right. Zava, being tactical's got the back console. Merrick, you've got the ops and science station, and Mayweather, you've got helm. Now, if need be, Galen can have a station, and same goes for Havoc. And we'll just use that as necessary. But yeah, as you all filter under the bridge, maybe take a look at your stations. Zava says, conference room is just through that door there, sir.
Thank you very much.
Was the bridge unmanned, or did the other crew depart?
I would say that there are probably one or two ensigns when you walk in, and they, of course, snap to a salute when the captain steps on.
As you were?
Yeah, and the moment they hear that, they sort of scuttle away like every red shirt does when the actual person for the position shows up. And it's one of those things where we don't really see it on the show, but there is some sort of lounge or probably Galen. There is some sort of lounge or otherwise waiting area for the sort of backup bridge officers to sit and wait for, them to come in. But yeah, I guess before we cut to the conference room, Galen, I think you may have been trying to say something for a while.
Yeah. Oh, I had a coughing fit and I muted Discord. The moment he gets a chance to transfer his program, he would do it at the earliest convenience of whenever one had stopped moving around the ship. So he would transfer to, I guess, the conference room or the bridge.
I leave that. I would say probably the bridge. You would maybe meet them on the bridge. So let me plop you on down. So you'd materialize in the space between Zava and the captain. And yeah, all of you would hear sort of a shimmer that we hear when holograms sort of come to life, quote unquote. And standing behind the captain's chair is Lieutenant Galen Mark 11.
Hello, Captain.
The EMH. Galen, is it?
Yes, but I'm not an emergency medical hologram. I am your chief medical officer.
Well, if they're signing you the post, you must be capable. Aren't you one of the first completely independent holographic medical officers?
Yes, my program was constructed for the ship specifically for the long tenure it is expected to run. The founding of my program was based off the Doctors, Mark I of Voyager, and Moriarty.
Interesting. Well, I'm pretty sure you'll do well, but I'll speak to the crew as a greater function later. I do have some stuff to get to, but good to meet you.
It's a pleasure.
Oh, Doc, one thing.
Hmm.
I guess we can get the staff on it before they get started. I know it may not be standard Starfleet, but considering some of the experiences I have, put a note on here as a tertiary duty. I do want you to have emergency bug out bags for all of the away teams, specifically for medical or engineering emergencies. You know, standard packs that they might need, including any like a small emergency blanket, that type of stuff. I'd like kits set aside so they could go by and pick them up as they're leaving without having to disturb your medical staff.
Ah, emergency kits. I can prepare some.
Very good. That'll be awesome.
I'll get to it, and I'll transfer back to sickbay.
Okay. He sort of just de-shimmers.
I love that.
Yeah, out of character. They're mainly bug out bags, so it's like the emergency medical kit you might see, plus blankets and, if need be, a medical tricorder and everything else. Sort of like if I was going down on a mission, considering I'm a pararescueman, I want at least one of those backpacks with me.
I gotcha. It's a sensible precaution.
Yeah. And out of character as well. I'm assuming that were you planning an actual full change of command ceremony? Because I did want to have a talk to the crew assembled.
Well, I will tell you this much. The Admiral is prepared to do I would call it a short change of command ceremony. She's not going to give a long speech or anything. I would liken it to the one held when Cisco got the Defiant.
Well, I intended to address the crew. It wouldn't be long, but I did want the crew to be formed up.
Oh yeah, certainly. That can all be arranged, and we'll say you maybe mention that in character. And Zava says, "I can have that arranged, sir, while you meet with our VIP."
He needs his command codes, the keys, right, guys?
Well, I assume that's all with check-in and everything else. But yeah, basically, we'll time the start of that with the Admiral's departure, so we can knock it out all at once.
Okay, understood, sir.
That's all I had for this scene.
Okay. So, with that said, it was you and the commander that were going to meet your VIP, yes?
Correct.
Okay, then in that case, I will push you on to this map. All right, so when you both step into the conference room, you see a 2.25 meter tall individual that is looking out of the window. This individual has a bluish purple biosuit with red markings throughout. The suit itself is vaguely reptilian in design, ranging from scaling, claws, and other such accents. You would know this alien to be Andromeda, i.e. the whole purpose behind Adiona's mission. And as I said, she is currently standing with her back to you all, and is just sort of taking in the sights of Utopia Planitia, or what she can see out of the windows anyway.
All right. Once we get in, I'll separate from the commander and approach Andromeda, and I'll come to a stop next to her.
So, without even turning to you, she says, "Captain, Williams, I believe."
Yeah, that's correct.
And at this point, she does actually turn and sort of looks at you and says, "I wanted to extend my thanks ahead of time for engaging in such a mission. I really appreciate it. I don't think there's words in any language that can express that appreciation properly.
No, just thanks Starfleet. It's all in a day's work for us. We get the mission, we get it done.
Well, I did also want to say, sir, that I do have the rank of Senior Chief Specialist. If you deem necessary to put me on the duty log. However, though it might sound that I am adverse to such work, I am not. I simply do not wish to step on the toes of our CMO, as that is what I specialize in.
I'm sure that won't be a problem, and if there is a problem, we'll get it sorted.
Very good. I believe it is human custom to shake hands at this moment, and she, sort of extends one of those covered hands towards you.
Yeah, I'll give her a handshake, and I trust it's appropriately firm.
Oh yeah, like you get the sense that if she wanted to, she could crush your hand. It's a little bit intimidating, maybe.
Well, actually expected considering the way she looks and knowing that's a biosuit. It's like, yeah, that's what I would expect.
Yeah.
Well met, Andromeda. Have all your concerns been already addressed on the ship?
Honestly, the only thing that really worries me, sir, if you don't mind me speaking frankly.
No, please go ahead.
I'm a little bit nervous about this whole QSD technology. It's definitely out of my depth. I have no knowledge of engineering, but it certainly sounds interesting, and I just hope there's no problems with it.
Well, I think with any new ship, you want to make sure that the first time you crank it up, it doesn't blow up. But I'm quite confident in the crew. Not to mention they've already started it a few times, I hope, before we get here. And, well, it'll be exciting nonetheless.
Very
and
good.
I'll give her a wry smile.
Yeah, and you would at least hear the smile in her voice, because obviously you're not seeing one. And she says, well, sir, I believe now that you've met the quote-unquote requirements, the Admiral is ready to perform the change of command whenever you are ready, sir. Just say the word, and I will send her a message.
That'll be fine. But if you don't mind, this is my XL. You'll be second in command, Commander Morgan.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Andromeda.
Oh, my apologies. I honestly did not see you there. And she does, walk over to you and gives the same sort of extended hand if you want to shake her hand, kind of a thing.
Morgan reaches out his hand, and he also gives her half a smirk because he's been standing here throughout this entire conversation. But he's enjoying this moment.
Yeah. And, another very firm handshake. And she says, I understand, Commander, that you are our, I suppose, diplomatic liaison for this mission? Of sorts, anyway?
That's correct. At least that's what Starfleet is primarily assigning me to be here for. I've brushed up and I've studied multiple first contact missions, and I hope that I'm prepared as I can be for this long journey. Our primary mission is to seek out new life and new civilization, and I'm excited. And I can't wait to see what's in store.
Hopefully we will see quite a lot of that on our journey. My understanding is that Pandora's Gate takes us to the outer reaches of one of the greater spirals of the galaxy, so we have quite the trip ahead of us.
So, if they haven't already, Morgan releases his handshake,
Mm-hmm.
and he says he turns in a slightly more serious tone to Andromeda.
Mm-hmm.
Although I'm excited and I'm eager to get underway with our current mission, it's the crew that has my concern first and foremost. Most of all, I understand that this is a new experience to everyone, including me. But I just want to make sure that we actually have every applicable reason to make sure we can maintain our safety above all. There's no reason for our naivete to blind us.
Andromeda just sort of nods and says, it's a very fair statement, Commander. Obviously, I will provide such advice and knowledge as I am able, but yeah, I honestly don't have a prepared reply for that.
Well, it's going to be a long journey, so you don't have to get one started. He says in a cheerful way, has to alleviate tension.
Oh, and you would hear her laugh, and it's a little bit of a musical laugh, but it is a laugh nonetheless. And she says, "Oh, I think we're gonna get along just fine."
Commander, one note before we go out there for the change of command. Exactly how much of this mission is classified and how much is not, if any? And I'm sort of asking out of character, but in character at the same time.
Oh, I gotcha. I would say by this point, the Pandora's Gate has been made known to the greater galaxy. Um, so I would say the on paper, you're going to obviously go to Andromeda, but I think right when you hit Andromeda is where that paper trail ends. So I think the crew knows that you're on some sort of a delivery run, a glorified delivery run, but they don't know that it is Andromeda that you are delivering. If that makes
Yeah,
any
that's
sense.
what I figured. Yeah, I wasn't sure if she was classified or not.
Her existence is classified at level 8. Obviously, you can't hide her on a ship this size, so the crew's gonna get to know her and know that she exists. But it is at your discretion, Captain, of kind of how that happens.
One more out of character. Does she have the means to move about to the bridge and to her quarters without being seen, or is she just going to be exposed to the crew?
Actually, that was kind of an out of character question I wanted to raise. So, would you all want to have quarters near the bridge, or would you prefer to have quote unquote normal quarters? I guess what I'm asking is because this is such a small ship, most of the bunks are going to be either shared or, I guess what I'm trying to say is that officers' quarters are in short supply. And while there is enough for all of you, if all of you take one and Andromeda takes one, then you're not going to have a VIP, like an extra VIP or an extra guest quarters available for someone. Guess what I'm asking is who wants to be roommates?
Let's see here.
Um,
Well, Drowned, we're definitely going to have to give her own room.
She can have Galen's because Galen's a hologram.
Oh no, I was already accounting for Galen.
Okay, cool.
I assume it'd be bridge staff and department chiefs. Everybody else would have to double up.
Okay.
He could assign me to dual quarters.
I'd be fine with that as well.
No, there you go. We've got 2 roommates already. There you go.
Yeah. So if they want to bunk up, I have no issues. It's just those will be
Vulcan
my
and the robot.
stipulations. Those are my limitations for a single room. Is secure, senior, the department chiefs, and of course, this designated guests.
Okay. All right. Well, with that handled, I believe, Captain, you'll walk back onto the bridge, and everything is prepared for you to give a speech to the crew. Of note, the Admiral is present. She is, excuse me, she is actually sort of hanging back, just waiting for you to give her the word. But she does acknowledge your presence. She nods and smiles at you and just sort of waits patiently.
Oh, out of character. I meant we might have to all get in the cargo bay because I was going to speak to the entire crew.
Oh, you were doing it that way.
Yeah, old school.
Gotcha. I believe I actually have a cargo bay, and if not, I should have done that ahead of time. I don't have
That's
a
all
cargo
right.
bay.
They'll be in there like sardines, so we won't even be able to see the floor if the ship is this small anyway.
All right, well, we'll say that this happens in the cargo bay then. And yeah, I would say a good majority of the 66 crew is there. The only ones not present are those that are handling sort of last minute adjustments.
Yeah, necessary duties and stuff. That's acceptable. Yeah.
Yeah, but hey, it's your speech. I'll let you run it.
All right, and I guess if there was an actual transfer of security codes, Zava could do it with a data pad right there.
Actually, the Admiral would handle that during hers.
No, I mean the Zava hold Admiral signing off and then me signing in type thing. Change of command since there's no standard for the ship or anything else like that.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that can happen. Basically, the Admiral is ready to read her bit, but since you wanted to speak to the crew first, I wanted to let that happen.
Well, no, I would do it once I assume command. I speak to the captain.
Okay, I get it now. Sorry, I had a little brain fart there. All right.
That's all right. I forgive you.
All right. So in that case, the admiral sort of comes up next to you and says, "Captain Williams, it is a pleasure. Computer, please open a channel to all decks and confirm." And the computer beeps. And now that it is acknowledged the comm is open, the admiral says, "Attention, all hands. From Starfleet Headquarters, Office of the Admiralty, to Captain Clifton Williams. As of this date, you are requested and required to command of the USS Adiona. Signed, Admiral Desier Astier, stardate 58102.0. And she sort of extends a hand to you, Captain Williams, and says, "Welcome aboard, Captain."
Thank you, Admiral. I assume command.
Computer, please change command codes to Captain Williams, authorization Astier 771 Charlie. And the computer chimes and says, "Captain, please input command codes."
This is Captain Williams, authorization Williams 12 Delta 9 or 7.
Authorization accepted. Change of command complete.
Thank you much, Admiral. We'll do you proud.
She sort of gracefully nods her head and steps aside, and now you can give your speech.
Don't worry, folks. I won't keep you long. I just wanted to get you all in front of me instead of speaking over the loudspeakers for our first meeting. It's a brand new ship, a brand new crew. I know a lot of you have been on other ships before, but otherwise the ship is pretty green, and we do have a pretty large mission ahead of us. We'll be going out to the Andromeda galaxy in a prototype ship, so I don't want anybody breaking anything. Is that understood?
There's a general murmur of "yes, sir," but it's not very loud. For the amount of people present, you would think it would be louder, but I think that would give you a sense that while the crew is agreeing with what you're saying, they are still kind of hesitant.
And I'll speak up. Is that understood?
And that gets a much louder response. It's a very resounding "yes, sir."
That's what I thought. All right. We'll be riding you pretty hard initially just to make sure we know what your capabilities are, but don't expect the universe to back up at all. Make sure you're ready to go at a moment's notice because it will be us and only us for quite some time. Be prepared for the worst, but I don't think we'll run into too much trouble on this trip. All right, with your department heads, later on they'll be giving out individual assignments, but other than that, I'll go ahead and release you now. Best of luck, Adiona.
And there's a general sort of like round of applause as your speech comes to a finish, and people begin to filter on out. And the Admiral actually lingers behind just a little bit, and she goes over to the Commander Morgan to try and flag him down before he leaves.
How can I help you, Admiral?
Well, I simply wanted to get your feeling for the Zenkethi.
The Zenkethi.
Yes.
Morgan thinks to himself for a little bit. Well, we haven't necessarily had so much of a problem with them in recent years, at least to my knowledge. However, I mean, it's always something that we have to be on the lookout for. To be quite honest, I wouldn't be surprised if they attempted to try something on our way to the gate.
That was my thoughts exactly, since we do have to pass very near their space. This isn't really an order, Commander, but you might want to brush up on contact procedures with the Zenkethi.
Understood, Admiral.
That is all. And sort of smiles, and unless anyone flags the Admiral down, she will kind of go to her own quarters. All right. So, at this point, I sort of have this sort of open-ended RP before we, obviously launch the ship. So is there anything anyone wants to accomplish from a role-playing perspective before we let the captain, give the order to engage kind of a thing?
Add a character question. Is the Admiral staying on board or is she leaving?
Yeah, I maybe didn't make it clear earlier. The Admiral is sticking with you guys until you reach Deep Space Daedalus, and Deep Space Daedalus is the station that is at the edge of the Sabine Expanse. It's basically on the other side of Cardassian territory from Federation space. And the Deep Space Daedalus has been the hub of activity for the USS Ophion, for the Lysithia, basically any ship operating in the area or going to the Andromeda Galaxy. Sorry, I should have said that earlier.
Okay, no problem. Just making note of it that the Admiral's on board. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Also-
I
Oh,
Out of character as well, how much information has my character specifically been given about our current VIP?
let's make that a call for the captain. So, Captain, would you have already let your senior officers seen the information on Andromeda, or would it simply be restricted to yourself and the Commander Morgan at the moment?
I would restrict that information until we are getting ready to set, getting ready to leave the docks, and then I bring them up to speed once we're underway.
Understood.
In that case, I'm going to walk up to the captain and look straight in the eye and say, "All right, tell us what exactly and who exactly are we getting and where?"
What do you mean exactly, Havoc?
You know what I mean. I know that we're going to the Andromeda Galaxy, but aside from that, I've been kept in the dark, and I don't like it.
Well, fortunately, you don't have to like it in order to follow orders. But I will bring you up to speed once we're on our way, and I know there's going to be nobody else on the ship.
Very well. I turn away and exit the room, going towards the engineering decks.
Okay. Anyone else?
yes. Galen to Chief Engineer Havoc. Please come to the sickbay, please.
Very well. I change course and go to the sickbay.
All right. And where's Havoc's token? There's Havoc's token. All right, so Havoc, you step into sickbay, and I'm gonna let you guys run your own scene.
Hello, Lieutenant Commander. Welcome to my sickbay.
Why did you call me here?
Well, out of the crew, you are a unique individual. I need to assess your components and see if I need to have any secondary, tertiaries, and quaternaries backups. Something that we can't replicate. Starfleet has managed to have a little stockpile of certain components. So I need to do a scan to see what I need.
Why are you acting like I'm some sort of piece of equipment? I am human, you know that.
Well, technically I'm the piece of equipment. But you have components that we may not be able to replicate in a new galaxy. So I wish to make sure that you leave a long, healthy life aboard the ship.
I give him a scowl, but I move towards the table where he can give a scan of my current cybernetics.
Okay, and we're gonna do our first roll of the game. Yay! So Galen, if you could roll me a reason plus medicine, please. This will be at a difficulty of 1. And what do you got for focuses? Let's see.
Oh. Reason, medicine.
Cybernetics would definitely apply here.
Would also anatomy apply as well? Or biology?
I would say those would all apply, but you only get 1 focus benefit.
May I assist?
With my talent called Purposeful, if I can apply 2 or more focuses, I get an extra dice.
Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I'd say Purposeful applies. Havoc, as far as you assisting, yeah, if you want to do a reason medicine yourself, or I guess you could argue for reason engineering, maybe. Just know that as an assist, you are only rolling 1 die, not the 2 that Galen, or I guess the multiple that Galen is going to roll.
Yeah, I'm going to try and assist with engineering.
Okay.
So it's reason engineering 1 dice.
Correct. And that is a good sign when your first roll of the campaign is a crit. All right, so let's see. That is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 successes. No, I can count 5 successes.
And since I'm in sickbay,
You get
Is that
another
one-
one. So that is a grand total of 5 successes.
Very
So this
nice.
is actually a good opportunity for me to explain what you're seeing on your screen. So over towards the towards the right side of your screen, you should see a sort of Starfleet symbol. That is the momentum token deck. And if you are new to the system, basically momentum is something that you generate by blowing rolls like this out of the water, or basically exceeding a roll's given result. And this momentum can be spent on a wide variety of things. Too much for me to go into at the very moment, but I'll bring it up as it's relevant. The one thing I will say is that momentum is capped at 6, so you can only have a maximum of 6 at any given time. And every time there is a major scene change, and I'm going to do my best to remember it for this campaign, you do lose a momentum. So it does slowly deteriorate, so you can't stockpile it forever. It also resets at the beginning of every session, unless we are sort of doing a two-parter. So just so you know. So I think Galen is going to handle it for the time being, but feel free to play around with the deck, get a feel for how to draw cards and things for that nature. And with that in mind, Galen and Havoc working together, you find that the components that are in question that might need replacement within 5-10 years are ones that Galen has actually already had the foresight to bring aboard. So you're actually in the green. You have everything you would need to reconstruct an entire leg, an entire arm, and possibly redo that implant. What is it? The cortical.
Oh, cortical node.
Thank you. The cortical node, if need be.
Don't forget that I was an engineering drone for the Borg, meaning I have far more extensive cybernetics than what we saw in Lakotis of Borg, such as respiratory systems and pulmonary systems, mostly replaced by cybernetics.
Yeah, I would say that while there isn't a direct replacement for those, you would both still get a feel for the fact that the Adiona is equipped to reconstruct such systems if need be.
Looks like you're in good health here, engineer.
Yes,
I have some components that will help with this and maintain you. If you do get injured, though, please come and see me. As much as I admire self-repair, I am made to help you. And if that is by administering medicine or having a chat with you, please feel free.
I doubt we'll be having many chats.
We could try singing then. He just gives you a little smile.
I pull myself off the scan thing and immediately head out the room.
All right. Okay.
Have a good day. And
I'm not having it with a singing hologram.
I'll send a message out to the rest of the command staff at their earliest convenience to come in for a quick physical.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll open the floor to everyone else. Did anyone else have anything they wanted to enact or, chat with or see before we get this thing underway?
Hey, just as an out of character point, you're allowing floating momentum for the scenes, correct?
Yeah. I am counting major scene changes as, for example, when we actually, launch the vessel out of Planitia Fleet Yards, that'll be a scene change. But
not that part. I mean, like if you go above your pool level, that momentum is still there, floating, but it goes away as soon as the scene changes because it's above the cap.
Yes, though I might be, how do I want to say this? Usually when you're above the cap, what I've been doing is you have to use it for that roll. But I'll do a little bit of research and see if I can find some precedents for it in the rules. I mean, if you have a page ready, I'd be happy to see it.
No, just checking to see how you're going to roll it once we go above cap.
Yeah. So let's keep it consistent with the other games. The floating momentum you get above 6 can only be used for that specific roll.
Very well. Yeah, the captain's pretty much just chilling out and waiting for everybody to finish before he tries to do anything on the bridge. So if anybody was to use him, that's what he will be.
Okay.
You get a little bleep on your pad then.
A bleep on the pad. What, for the doctor's note?
Hmm.
Yeah, I'll do it later.
Well, that's the captain's prerogative. If nobody else, I'd like something.
Sure.
So now that I'm on the bridge with the captain, assumedly at my station, I just like to flag him down and get his attention really quick.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Go for it.
So, Captain, now that we're about to be underway, I would like to ask you whether you'd like the crew to be on a 3 or 4 shift rotation. I currently have them assigned to 3, but
Now, 3's fine. I don't want to
to
start getting the officers having to do double shifts just because of the manning. It's a bit short, so let's keep it regular on 8-hour shifts.
Understood. Is there anything else that you'd like me to take care of?
Yeah, as soon as we get on our way, whatever. The first meal is you and me trying to figure out how we're going to run this ship.
Understood. I look forward to that with great expectation.
Don't get too excited. I'm just a captain, not a superhero.
Commander Morgan nods. He's like, understood, sir. That's all.
Okay. Mayweather, Merrick, I know it's been a little bit quiet on your end, so do you two have anything that you'd like to get done?
Yeah, I'd like to walk into engineering.
Sure, we can certainly do that. Let's see, where did I put engineering? There's engineering. Alright, so obviously Havoc is already there, but Merrick, you walk on in, and I don't know, Havoc, what you up to in your I guess, your home away from home?
Currently, I'm messing around with anything that looks like it could even need a tuning or calibration. I'm just currently making sure that the ship is running at absolute maximum capacity.
Okay.
As I walk in, I would say, Lieutenant Commander,
Yes.
I wish to check one of the consoles here to verify something I found.
I immediately tap the closest console to me with a spanner. This one's working. You can use it.
I head over to the one that's responsible for the port side EPS conduits.
Okay. And what are you looking up or scanning, or what you doing with it?
I'm verifying that some information that I already have, and basically, if I don't get a reaction out of Lieutenant Commander, I'll leave.
Okay.
Well, currently I'm doing the Garrus thing of just literally calibrating the crap out of everything I see. So
Okay.
he may,
So,
or I may actually
yeah.
just do a quick luck roll to see if my character accidentally bumps into his character while looking at something else.
Okay.
How would you do a luck roll?
Honestly, I'm more of the fan of just letting you decide as a character rather than letting the dice. But if you want to have the dice decide, usually what I do is a D100, and I don't know, for this, I'd say below a 65. Yeah, you bump into them. And do you know how to roll that in Roll20, or do I need to explain how?
I know how.
Okay. All right, you bump into him.
What you'll see Merrick doing is he's looking at the shield generator on the port side. And if you kind of bump into him, he'll look at you and see that he has your attention. And he'd make the comment, basically, Lieutenant Commander, I believe you'll find the left side or port side shield generator. The remodulation is off 0.2 milli frequencies, or sorry, millicochranes, and there's a slight delay of 0.35 seconds. This is out of specification.
I sigh and rub my temple and mumble, of course someone would mess that up.
now that I brought that to your attention, I also wish to provide you results here from the last QSD test. Quantum slip drive, is that right, Jan?
Quantum Slipstream.
Quantum slipstream. Okay. So the QSS?
QSD.
QSD. Okay.
Yeah.
So I hand you a pad with the QSD and basically explain to you. This is the performance during the last trial run.
Question: how impressive are the performance results? Are they mediocre?
Why don't you roll me a insight plus engineering difficulty 1, and I'll answer that question.
It's mostly in the regard to the theoretical propulsion.
How many dice on this?
Since this is just you doing the roll, you do 2. However, this is a good opportunity to say, if you wanted extra dice, you could spend momentum.
Actually, let me take a little look at something.
Okay.
One moment. Question: would I be able to apply I know my ship to this?
Oh yeah, I already factored it into the difficulty.
So that means I'll get a bonus D20.
Yes, you would.
And you're in engineering.
Yeah. So yeah, I believe you're rolling what, 3d20? Yeah.
And do I put applicable focus or no?
Well, let's take a look at your focuses. Yes, one of those focuses would apply.
Oh yeah, experimental technology and
even warp field dynamics. Okay, yeah, you got the success you needed. Also,
only one. That's not a good one. That's not good though, considering my luck.
It's still a success, and I will apologize. It seems idiots are actually launching fireworks, even though we are on the flight path for a Navy base, and that's illegal. And that is upsetting my dog, so apologies if my dog slips through on the mic. I will be trying to keep her quiet. But in any case, to answer the result of the roll, you all see that, well, I guess Havoc, you would see it, and Merrick would already know this because it's something Brahms pointed out. But the Slipstream phase detector is out of alignment by 0.001 degrees. It's easily fixed, but hopefully me going to that level of, precision kind of tells you how precise things have to be for QSD.
I immediately shove the data pad back into the Vulcan's hand and actually somewhat yell at him, "Why didn't you bring this to my attention earlier?"
You were not present.
We have a comm system.
Information like this is best shared in person.
I sigh at him and just shake my head because something like this, even if it's very important, we are on a ship, and I think alerting me as fast as possible, my character would think alerting me as fast as possible would be the most logical and best decision that they could have made.
Yes, Lieutenant Commander.
All right, lead me to the damn thing. I'm gonna fix this.
If you require any assistance, please call.
Oh, you're coming with me.
He follows or just stands until she points or moves.
All right. So, for sake of argument, we'll say that both Havoc and Merrick are working on getting everything right where it should be. Okay. Did you want to extend that scene, or should we go to Mayweather? Because I think we've heard from everyone but Mayweather.
That's fine. We can switch on. I think we're just checking systems here now.
Okay.
We're checking systems and moving things 0.001 degree in the right direction.
Okay. All right. So Mayweather, do you have anything in store for us?
Not really. I'm just running pre-flight diagnostics and that kind of stuff, and downloading, the appropriate. Make sure all the star charts are synced up with how the galaxy's been since the last time it's been updated for navigation, that kind of stuff.
Hopefully, he's not hitting on Lieutenant Rice or Zaya.
For Zava? Nah. I don't know, maybe he is. Who knows?
I'm on duty.
But you are Mayweather.
This is
And
awesome.
Travis knew how to apply it.
He heads to the gym, right? Like the other one did.
Oh, God.
I am a Mayweather, but I'm still on duty. I can get to know the crew ladies, later on.
Mayweather will also get a bleep on his console for whenever he's available.
Captain,
This is the captain. Go ahead.
Well, he's literally right next to you on the bridge.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I thought he moved somewhere else. Go ahead, Mayweather.
the CMO is requesting my presence for my physical. Permission to leave the bridge?
Go on, get out of here.
I'll report to sickbay.
All right, we cut to sickbay. Glad I decided.
I'll
to put
start
sick bay.
chatting with the ensign that takes his spot, I guess.
Okay. And there's Mayweather. There you go. You enter into sickbay.
Oh, welcome to sickbay. I'm glad that someone reported quickly. I hope this was not interrupting any of your duties, though.
If there's a problem, I'm sure the computer or the bridge will let me know.
Excellent. As you know, you probably already had a physical with Starfleet not some too distant time ago. Can't speak now. Malfunction. I just want to establish a baseline before we leave the Sol system and get everyone records. So if any anomalies happen, I have something to reference. Base material, as it were. Would you like to have a seat, please?
Sure, no problem, Doc.
Now, the standard questions, as all physicals, have you interacted with any species outside from humans? In an intimate manner. I'm going to skip the questionnaire. But have you been fine, though? Any signs of fatigue, pain, anything like that?
Your definition of intimate. Do you mean of a sexual nature? Then no. My best friend from the academy, Talon, her 7-year-old daughter was practicing her mind meld technique with her quote unquote uncle Tony, myself, at her newborn brother's naming ceremony. That was it, but that is intimate contact.
All right. And have you been having any fatigue, pain, nausea, anything like this?
Absolutely not.
That's good to hear. I'd also like to let you know that I'm also acting as a ship's counselor, so if you also need to talk to anyone, I am here any time of the day. All you have to do is either activate my program or simply find me. And yeah, I'll just do a scan of him, see if everything's fine.
Okay. And since you guys already have the 5 momentum, I'm just going to say you scan him. Nothing's out of the ordinary. He is in prime physical condition.
Tell me, Lieutenant, do you prefer alcohol? And if so, what type?
When I'm lounging around, usually a nice bottle of wine, unless you have some Boomer Sooner, but that's generally, I guess the old 20th century term is rot gut.
Very well. I'll make a note of this. That is all. You can return back to your duties.
You're the doc.
All right.
Have a good day.
Okay. Last call before we do the underway sort of quote-unquote ceremony. Okay. In that case, we will have a major scene change, so do lose 1 momentum. And yeah, everyone has been assembled at their appropriate duty stations. Everyone is ready to get this show underway. And all that needs to happen is the captain give the word to undock and engage.
Alrighty, I'm assuming we have clearance to disengage the mooring clamps.
You would, yes.
Alrighty, go ahead and notify the dock of departure. Ensign, take us out when we're ready.
I think he's a lieutenant, but
Oh, yeah, that's right. The engine was there earlier.
nah, he came back. All right.
Okay.
So
Mayweather, take us out when you're ready.
So Mayweather, I'm going to have you do a roll just because A, I find it funny, and B, I feel like every single ship action from this point is going to be in your hands, so we need to set a precedence. If you could roll me a very simple, well, hopefully simple, control plus con at a difficulty of 1. So you would be rolling 2 dice, and you would have an applicable focus. Mayweather, you there? Uh-oh.
I am here.
Oh, there it goes. Cool. Yeah, so you actually get that momentum right back. So yeah, I don't usually do cinematic shots like this, but if you all will imagine sort of the exterior of the Adiona, the docking moors kind of release and retract into the greater shipyard. The gantries pull back, all the umbilicals come off. And very slowly, Lieutenant Mayweather guides the craft out into open space and sort of banks it to the left so that you get a nice view of the shipyards and in the distance a very pale blue dot. And yeah, you are free from the yards. You can pretty much go where you'd like at this point.
Course and heading, sir.
Right. I'm going to burn 2 momentum to establish there's a test waypoint with the ship standing by should something go wrong with the drive on our first jump out.
Okay.
And then go ahead and set to the predetermined waypoint 1 for our first QSD test.
All right.
Aye, aye, sir.
In a sort of a, I wouldn't, how do I want to say this? There should be a handout under ships that is labeled experimental QSD that is going to walk us through the process. So, Mayweather, you're going to be rolling a control plus con. That is going to be at a difficulty of 3 because that is the ship scale. The ship will be assisting with engines plus con, so someone's going to have to open up the Adiona sheet and roll for her. And then one other character may assist with either control and engineering or control and science. And the power thing isn't really important unless we're like in ship combat, but basically the only other stipulation is that there is sort of a limit on how long you can maintain QSD. And this is so that you don't literally just go all the way to the Andromeda Galaxy's core in one shot, kind of a thing.
Should I assist with control and engineering because I have a 12 control and 5 engineering?
That would be a good thing, yeah.
I'll roll the ship real quick. What was the roll?
The ship is rolling engines plus con.
Question. I have pushed the limits. Is the difficulty because of, stuff for the engines? Because then it's reduced by 1 because of push the limits.
Let me consult the verbiage of push the limits if my PDF would stop freezing. All right, let's see. Push the limits.
I'm right on that page, so I can read it for you.
I got it.
Okay.
No, this would not be due to environmental conditions or damage to the engines. It's good talent to have, but it doesn't help you here.
Guys want me to burn a momentum for an extra die, or do you think the ship and the assistant's going to do enough?
No, let's not juice it yet.
I would like to see what the ship is capable of.
All right. Well, the ship has already rolled 1.
Control engineering. How many d20s?
Just 1. Anytime you assist, it's 1.
Got it.
Helm operations?
May I play a focus?
Let me answer Mayweather's first. Yes, helm operations work, and then Havoc, your experimental technology focus would apply. Wow, Mayweather. Wow.
Mayweather, goddamn.
Damn. Okay,
Like,
so...
calm down. We don't need to go to Andromeda that quickly.
I guess he is a Mayweather, right?
Yeah. That is amazing. All right, so that is 1, 2, 3 momentum, if I can count properly. And yeah, again, from a narrative sort of perspective, Mayweather, you coordinate with Havoc down in engineering, and the two of you sort of bring the core to resonance. And sort of in front of the ship, you would see on the view screen on the bridge, there is a bluish green vortex that opens in subspace. And Mayweather gracefully guides the Adiona into it. And there's not even like a jolt or any indication that you are now traveling at 2 point, what is it? I wrote this down. 2.63 times 10 to the 6 faster than light speed. And yeah, all you're seeing out of the view screen at the moment is sort of the inside of the vortex. Thankfully, everything is checking out green, both at helm, at engineering. Everything seems to be ship shape.
Alrighty. I'm assuming this test is only for like a minute or so.
Yeah,
for
it
the
is
purposes.
all of a minute's time. So if someone wants to do something in that minute, just shout.
There's an operational duration or limit, right?
Yeah, so there is a maximum of 15 minutes at a time, or about 75 light years. And I can do, the calculation on the fly, but I'm gonna hand wave it unless it's really need. I'm just gonna ballpark it. I'm not gonna, be super stringent about it. But yeah, if no one has anything for that minute, yeah, after the minute passes, the go ahead.
I actually wanted to have my character just check with the rest of the engineering staff that's down there with me.
Mm-hmm.
Just make sure that they're up to snuff in my eyes.
Okay. How would you be doing this? Is there any particular fashion you want to go about that, or
Checking what they're doing, how they're doing it, and if they're matching the times that I myself have pretty much set as necessary to keep the ship running at top function.
Okay. I would say that 2 ensigns are obviously ensigns because they are a little bit slower than you might want. But the good news is, as seems to be commonplace in my games, there is a Tellarite in engineering, a lieutenant junior grade, who is performing rather admirably. He is very, how do I want to say this? He almost anticipates any problems or adjustments before they're needed.
I take note on the 2 ensigns that are slower to basically boot camp them a little bit later on, but not now as we are in slip space. So doing that right in the middle of such a delicate operation would be a bad idea.
Probably.
I also take a note on the 3rd person that they are going to be who I'm going to call upon if stuff really starts going south.
Okay. If it matters, the Tellarite's name is Luth. Luth.
I'm actually going to write that down.
Yeah, I could give you his full name, but I think if we just call him Luth, it'll be better. Because we'll remember Luth. We won't remember Jankush Galashk Luth.
He owes me $5.
Okay. So yeah, anyone doing anything else during that minute time frame that I should be made aware of?
What is the color of the vortex?
It is blue green. Maybe more of an aquamarine or a teal.
I want to perform just a passive scan on everyone while we're in slip space, just to see the effects of it.
Okay. Again, you're at 5 momentum, so I'm just gonna let this happen. Nothing out of the ordinary. It's not like people's organs are going out of phase or people are suddenly experiencing high blood. Well, certain people on the ship are experiencing high blood pressure, probably the ones you'd expect. Mayweather's heartbeat's up. Havoc's heartbeat is slightly more than usual, which is saying something considering their anatomy.
Is anyone hyper evolving to a lizard?
No one is turning into a lizard.
Okay, good.
I just heard about that story. I'm like, oh my god, they didn't.
Yes, no lizards here. For the love of God, no lizards here.
Alright.
Alright. Okay. Now is when the vortex on the view screen is going to open up into open space, and you all exit the slipstream, and you find yourselves in the middle of, well, empty space. And Merrick, if you would do the honors of doing a reason plus science for a sensor scan, the ship will be assisting with sensor science. And because you have advanced sensor suites, this is only going to be a difficulty 0 test. So this is just free momentum for you.
Okay, I'll just use 2 dice then.
Okay.
While he's doing that, I'll turn to Zaya. It's like, Zaya, have all pertinent sections run a level 4 diagnostic. Give the results to the XO.
On it, sir. And she isn't going to correct you. It's Zava, not Zaya, but she isn't going to correct you.
I gotta get used to that, man. I keep thinking Zaya for some reason. That's me, not the command. That's not the captain. That's me.
Oh,
So,
no, it's fine. I'm just teasing you a little bit. All right. Well,
So are we where we're supposed to be?
yeah, with what is that? 4 successes, so you're capped on momentum with 3 floating. Yeah, you are not only where you should be, but literally exactly down to the molecule where you should be.
We may have been a little too successful.
Captain, we are positioned right where we were supposed to be.
Excellent. Is the receiving ship here as well?
Strangely, it is not.
Can I use the floating momentum to look for the ship?
Yeah, you can, since you're science officer, I think you get a free question already. So what would be your question so that I know what answer to give you specifically?
Well, I'm looking for signs of the ship that is supposed to greet us here. Basically, any kind of warp trail or debris, any indications of the ship, other than the fact that it's sitting there.
Yeah, I gotcha. Actually, yes. With that many successes, you're going to find that the receiving shift is approximately half a light year away, and it's just sitting in space.
Captain, it is off our port quarter. How far away did you say, Jim?
About half a light year.
I inform him of that. I scan it to see if all emissions from the ship are normal.
Yeah, in fact, again, using that floating momentum, ship seems fine. You are detecting life signs and nothing wrong with the ship as far as you're able to tell.
In that case, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say it's currently sitting off to our port quarter. All indications that the ship is fine.
Well, if we are supposed to be, but they're not, I'd like to order to hail them.
Okay.
If that's applicable with the captain, of course. If he
Oh
doesn't
yeah, the
mind.
commander is pretty much thinking the same thing I am.
Absolutely.
If the commander is going to interject, I'm not going to stop him.
Yeah, and I guess we
Who's
should
ha-
we should settle that now. Commander, do you want to do communications or do you want Zava to do communications?
Um, Zava can do communications.
Okay.
Yeah, she's at the ops station. Right?
Exactly. So
Well, she's at the
that's
big
why.
old tactical station, but yeah, she can do it. All right, so she says, opening a channel now, Commander. And after a few seconds, on screen, you see a Vulcan female. And she says, this is Captain Tashan. Captain Williams, I presume.
You are correct. How is your ship doing? We seem to be a little bit separated from each other.
One moment. She kind of tilts her head to the side, says something inaudible to someone off screen, and she says, we appear to be at the coordinates we were supposed to be waiting, Captain, but I do acknowledge the fact that there is quite a discrepancy between our two locations.
That's fine, as long as everything's good on your ship and we can talk to each other. That's my main concern.
Well, it is interesting that you are there and we are not. One moment. Again, she says something off screen and she says, I believe I found the faults, Captain. Our chief science officer had decided to run a level 6 diagnostic and it interfered with our navigational array. My apologies for not being there to greet you, quote unquote, in person.
Not a problem. We won't be using the drive for a little bit anyway. Might as well set a rendezvous.
Understood. Should we come to you or will you be coming to us?
Let me see what my helmsman can do. We'll be there shortly.
Okay. Tashan out.
Adiona out. You heard me, Mayweather. Go ahead and set a course for the other ship.
Speed, sir?
It's half a light years within impulse, isn't it?
Technically, yeah, it wouldn't take you that long.
Actually, screw it. Do warp 1.
All right.
I set the coordinates and engage at warp 1. Do you need me to roll?
No, you're Captain Momentum, and you've been blowing rules out of the water, so I think we'll say, for sake of argument, you make it there no problem. It's, again, a very graceful entrance into warp and a very graceful exit from warp. And you all now find yourselves off the port bow of your receiving ship. If it matters, the receiving ship is named the Kevarsh.
Is the Kev Arsh, forgive me, GM, I forget if you said it. Is it a Starfleet vessel or is it a Vulcan science vessel?
It is a Vulcan science vessel.
Okay.
What was the captain's name again that you used?
Tashan.
I'm assuming that's Tshan with the apostrophe appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. So, yeah, so I guess whenever we get there, we'll just pull alongside.
Okay. So I guess my operative question here is, what will you guys be doing possibly with the crew of the Shevarsh?
Alright, well, the main thing is we were in place, they were not. So I'm just basically doing a wellness check before we take off somewhere else, just to make sure there's nothing greater. Granted, she said that it was taken care of, but it might as well do the official greeting and actually show up in front of each other before we leave for record's sake.
Okay. Unless anyone really wants to get into the granularity of that, I'll say that it takes you maybe an hour, maybe, to once again identify that the fault was with the Vulcan science vessel, and that everything else is green, and that everything else checks out. Like your radiation levels are acceptable. Your drive's not in any danger of exploding. Nothing like that. You seem to be ship shape and ready to engage QSD for a longer distance.
Alrighty. Well, I guess in character, what would be our next waypoint of business then?
That is actually at your discretion, Captain, but I had in my notes that you might want to just try to do the 75 light year jump to Deep Space Nine. Because that is, I calculated it out using what I had available. And you can, in that 15-minute time window, get from Earth to DS9.
All right, sounds exciting. Are we still doing a shakedown test of like weapons and everything else, or mainly just a drive?
That is again at your discretion. In my notes, I had it happening that your weapons test would happen at DSD. But if you want to do a weapons test sooner than that, again, you're the captain. It is your prerogative.
No, no. As long as if we have if it's on the schedule, I'll follow the schedule. That's all I'm trying to verify.
Okay, yeah, I probably should have put the schedule in a handout for you, but basically the idea is you do a full jump to DS9, you pick up some extra supplies at DS9, then you do a quick little jump to DSD on the other side of Cardassian space, and then at DSD there is sort of a firing range, quote unquote, for you to test the rest of your systems.
All right, very well. All right. All right. I'm assuming all sections have reported in at level 4.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Alrighty, Mayweather. Let's go to our next location. Set course for DS9.
Setting course for DS9.
Engage when ready.
All right. So again, you guys are capped on momentum. I'm not going to have you roll for it. But I will do a scene change here. So you will lose 1 momentum. So again, the Adiona gracefully, I've said gracefully too much this session. Smoothly, let's use the word smoothly.
That's all Mayweather's for. He does everything gracefully unless he's under siege.
The Adiona smoothly jumps into the slipstream. And again, everything's checking out, no problems. Until Merrick, you get something on your console right at about the same time that Zava gets it. And I'm going to let you decide who speaks up first, but you are detecting a wideband distress call.
She seems to be handling communication, so.
Okay. So Zava reports and says, Captain, I am picking up a wideband distress call coming from near Cadlic Prime.
And I will begin to try to locate that distress call.
Okay.
How far?
We will be there. We could be there, sir, within the next 5 minutes.
What do we have on that system?
Merrick, you would know for free, without having to roll for anything. You know that Cadlic Prime is a Federation world, sort of on the border between empty space and then the Zenkethi Empire. Probably should put in a map for you guys to look at. I'll do that next session. But basically, there's Cadlic Prime, there's a big gap in space, and then there's the Zenkethi Empire. And right on the border of the Zenkethi Empire is Starbase 621.
Near Keplik Prime.
Sort of, yes.
Okay. Captain, it is a frontier world, Keplik Prime, on the border of Zenkethi space. Starbase, I forget the number, but
621.
Starbase 621 is very nearby.
This is where I interject, and I'd like to remind the captain that we were warned. I specifically was warned about Zenkethi activity from the Admiral before we left Utopia Planitia. This may be planned interference.
Lovely. All right, let's see here. Zava, if you could alert the Admiral just in case she wants to get involved. Meanwhile, we'll go ahead and set her out there.
Understood, sir. Not to tell you, what to do, sir, but should we try to respond to the distress call?
Yes, we're heading there now. But
I mean, like in a visual or an audio, like hail or thing of that nature.
Yeah, we will send notification we're responding to the distress call.
Okay, yeah. Just looking for those magic words, because sometimes when I tell the players, hey, there's a distress call, they go there and don't even listen or try to respond
I
to it.
completely understand. I should know better being former military, so yeah.
Yeah, I gotcha.
I'll look up the name registry, type of ship, try to gather information on it.
Okay. Again, I'll give this to you free. You know that the distress call is coming from the USS Fleming, and the Fleming is an Olympic-class hospital ship. And sort of to set the mood, you play it so that the whole bridge can hear. And the message says, this is Captain Foran of the USS Fleming. We are currently under attack by the Zenkethi and are in need of immediate assistance. To any and all vessels within range, we are a hospital ship. We have nothing of value, and we have sick and injured aboard. Again, this is the USS Fleming, and then it sort of repeats from there.
I don't even believe that the Zenkethi would be so bold as to attack a hospital ship.
Yeah, those crazier things have happened, though. If there is an attack, it's for a reason. If they're having to worry about returning fire, do we know what the status of that ship is at this time? Was there anything else in the distress call?
Not at this moment, but you could respond to the distress call and might get some more information.
Yeah, we're responding to it. I'll see here, Merrick. Once we get within long-range scanners, I want to know everything about that ship.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So, let's,
Oh, one other thing. I'll
Not a-
notify the CMO and prep them just in case they need additional medical personnel. It's a hospital ship, but if they're injured and their medical staff has been hit, we may have to assist.
Okay.
I'll not only look at details on the ship, but whatever else might be around.
Okay. How do I want to do this? Because you get there pretty quickly with QSD. So why don't you roll me another reason plus science, Merrick? And again, the ship is assisting with sensor science. I'm going to make the difficulty here a 2 after accounting for the Adonia's advanced sensor suites. So it was initially at a 3, reduced down to a 2.
Okay, I'm checking a couple things here.
Sure.
So, I have technical expertise.
Mm-hmm.
That's a task, though. Okay, so I can use that to do a reroll?
Yes.
Correct?
Since the roll is using the ship's sensors, you can re-roll 1d20, and one of those d20 can be the ship's roll.
And can you combine another talent like cautious science?
You certainly can, but you would have to buy a dice with momentum to trigger cautious.
Okay, so I'll use one momentum, if everybody agrees, because if I get extra momentum, we get it back and might even get more information.
Go for it.
Yeah, no arguments here.
All right. So let's see those rolls.
There was sensors and science for the ship.
That is correct. That's even before the ship.
Someone else want to do the ship just to try?
Yeah, the captain will do it this time if somebody's not actively rolling right now.
I am.
Oh,
Oh, there you go. Go ahead.
all right. So, yeah, you're capped on momentum again. So again, Merrick, you can ask an additional question, but your initial scans do show that the Fleming is currently at half shields, and it is indeed under attack from a Zenkethi raider. Actually, more specifically, it is a Shuk Din frigate, and it is currently broadcasting the IFF TC Phwewo, Phewo.
And the ship is crossed into Federation space.
No, this is still in the. You know what? I'm gonna very quickly copy something and throw it in Discord so you guys can see it. This is in between unclaimed space.
I informed the captain the ship is currently under attack by a Zenkethi frigate.
Before the captain responds, I'll quickly interject and say, bridge to transporter room, prepare to receive casualties.
All right, so in Discord, I put where the map is. So if you want to imagine a spot in between 621 and Cadlick, that's where the hospital ship is.
Alrighty. Red alert.
All right. So, of course, the lights turn red, the siren sounds, people come and go to different duty stations, and this also would be a good opportunity for the Admiral to chip in. So you do hear, Admiral to the bridge, Captain.
Admiral, we have a situation.
Understood. Is this a situation where I should be concerned, or...
Well, mainly wanted to keep you up apprised of what's going on. We're responding to a distress call. The Zenkethi seem to be attacking the USS Fleming. We're responding to make sure there's no shenanigans going on.
Understood. Not to leave you high and dry, Captain, but I believe this to be an excellent test of your mettle under fire. I will reclude myself. What is it? Recluse? You know what I mean.
Recuse.
Thank you. I will do that for the time being, unless my presence is especially needed.
Understood, Admiral. We'll keep you advised.
Admiral out. And yeah. Again, QSD is really fast, so I'm assuming you guys want to drop out near-ish where this is happening?
We're going almost... well, unless the sensors give us a reason not to do so, otherwise we'll drop out at extreme range of the Fleming. You know, we're still at red alert, and I'll give a 1MC to the crew, letting them know of the situation, so that way they're somewhat ready to go. Gotcha. Instead of just freaking out on why there's a red alert, well, I'll focus their attention with what's going on.
I'll monitor the status of the ship in distress, the hospital ship.
Okay.
Or maybe I should actually say something instead of just saying my character does that. I gotta get in the habit of acting this stuff out.
Up to you.
Alrighty, so I'll tell Zaya to bring up 1MC.
Done, sir.
This is the captain. We've got an emergency hail of a ship in need, so we're responding. I told you we were going to have some excitement, and here's it. So get ready, folks. Captain out.
All right, and I will put you all on this map. You're going to want to zoom out for this one. All right, so you should be able to see the Fleming over there. You should be there over to the left. You guys are over to the right. And you also should be able to see the Zenkethi frigate. And this is where I do a little bit of telling you what's going on. So, at this point, the Fuego and the Fleming are engaged in starship combat. You can, of course, attempt to defuse the situation, but should that not work, we will be jumping into a little bit of starship combat so that people get a feel for it. If you're curious, the rules for starship combat begin on page 220, and they outline sort of what you can do as minor actions and as your specific station. So you might want to get those rules up and ready, but of course I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to defuse the situation. But that is what you're seeing. You are seeing that the Fuego is continuing to fire on the Fleming. And to answer your question, Merrick, the Fleming was on a scheduled run between Cadlick Prime and Starbase 621.
Captain, the ship has no special orders other than a routine mission.
Alrighty, let's see here. And I'll lean over to the, or I'll speak up to the XO. It's like, Can you think of any other reason other than just being assholes these guys would want to fire on a hospital ship?
I can't at this time, Captain, but I do agree that it's highly irregular. We haven't had hostile relations with the Zenkethi in quite some time.
Well, if they're actively firing, I'm going to light them up and stop and use that to stop them first, and then we'll see what happens once they see that that our gloves are off.
Agreed. By all means, let them know that, if necessary, we'll come out swinging.
All right. Tactical, as soon as you have weapons range, I want you to open fire on that ship. Helmsman, I want you to put us between the Zenkethi and the Fleming.
Okay. So this is where we're going to go into turn order. All right. So, it is the Adonia's turn at first, and the way Starship Combat works is you should see the dots on the ship token, and those represent the 5 major stations. And each station can act once in a round being a complete circuit of the turns. And if you want to, say, do 2 tactical actions, we can, but I'll get into that as it happens. But there's no specific turn order. You guys could have Helm Act first, and then tactical, or internal systems then tactical, or really whatever floats your boat, really. But I would also point out the range meter. At the moment, you guys are at 12 units away, which is extreme range, which is currently out of range of your photon torpedoes.
How are things such as hailing a ship during combat handled?
There is an actual hailing frequencies open task. It is under communications on page 223. And basically, since it's a difficulty of 0, because there's not like eddies in the area interfering with communications, I'm just going to say that you would be able to hail the vessels no problem.
Well, I'd like to attempt to do that first.
Okay. So you open a channel, and what do you say?
This is Commander Morgan of the USS Adiona. Stop firing on this Federation hospital ship. We order you to stand down your weapons.
All right. So hail goes out. There's a little bit of silence. The Fuego does stop firing on the Fleming, but it does slightly turn and begin heading in your direction. So in fact, on the Fuego's turn, in fact, I gotta move that box so people can see. The Fuego is actually going to launch over to anywhere within longs. Let's see. Just because I feel like being nice, it's going to go all the way to here. But that will be its helm action. And it is now the Fleming's turn. The Fleming is going to take the opportunity to try and regen some shields. And I should probably put this on my bar. No. So the Fleming tries and fails to restore a little bit of its shields. Actually, no, wait a second. That's a difficulty 1. All right, it restores some shields. All right, we come back around to you guys as a group. So what would you like to do next?
Do I suggest it in character or out of character?
Up to you.
Out of character, I suggest that we take advantage of the ship's nice sensors and try to find some weakness in this foe.
I agree.
Okay. So a scan for weakness is a task carried out by Merrick. You're going to be rolling a control plus science, and the ship will assist with sensors and science. And the difficulty is going to be a 1 after accounting for reduction from advanced sensors.
Do I want to spend any momentum, guys?
Yeah, feel free to use some momentum, man. That's not a captain thing. That's a crew thing. So
Yeah.
Okay, and do I have a applicable focus, I wonder?
Well, let's take a look. I would say yes, since you have sensor systems as a focus.
Okay, I'll just use. Well, I'll use 2.
Okay,
No,
so
that's actually through momentum, isn't it?
yeah, it's 3 momentum for 2 die, 1 for 1 die, and
We have 1, right? Or I'm sorry, we have 5.
you had 6.
Okay, I'll use just 1 then, because I got rerolls.
Okay, so actually you're at 5 momentum.
I thought we had a scene change and we went down to 5.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
you're right. You're right. It is a 4. Thank you for reminding me.
And someone can do the ship again.
I could go ahead and roll for the ship.
All
Are we
right,
rolling?
the ship is actually sensor security. I misspoke earlier. It is sensor security, not sensor science.
Understood.
Is that true for me?
Yours is fine. Yours is still control and science. Okay, so the Adiona does not assist, but you do get 1 momentum back, because it was only difficulty 1.
And I
yeah.
can reroll
Oh, yeah, you
at
can
0.
reroll. Go ahead.
And just treat it like a normal roll. Just roll it again.
Yeah.
Bump.
All right, so no help there. All right, well, good news is part of Scan for Weakness is you will do some additional damage if you are able to hit it on your next go around. And there's also Piercing too, but we'll get into that if and when we get to damage.
Captain, there is a weakness in their shields in the rear quarter, near the rear quarter.
Roger.
All right. So we come around to the Fuego, and the Fuego is actually going to open up fire just right away on you guys. So let's roll for them. Good news, they completely miss. So the Zenkethi craft kind of comes in with an attack run and fires across your bow, but either they're deliberately trying to miss or they're just that bad. And we come back around to the Fleming. Fleming again attempts to regen shields. This time it doesn't get it. And we now go to you guys again.
Alrighty, tactical. You got anything on this ship yet?
Zava smiles and says, "Where would you like me to hit them, sir?"
Knock out their weapons or shields, whichever you prefer.
Understood, sir. Now, mechanically, I do have to ask if you want to aim specifically at those rather than just thematically, because if you aim at a specific system, it is an increased difficulty.
Yeah, but I figured we got to cut through their shields first, so I didn't think we'd have an opening quite yet. Granted, piercing does let us do a little bit more, but we still their shields are up, so we still got to get through those first.
Okay. All right, so just a general attack. So one of you guys, if you would open up Lieutenant Zava's sheet, she is going to be rolling control plus security. And as you might expect, the ship is going to be rolling a weapons plus security. And I'm assuming you guys are using phasers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't need to use torpedoes quite yet.
Yeah. In that case, your phaser attack will be at a total difficulty of 2.
Hey, XL, you want to roll the ship for me?
Oh, okay. I was gonna roll Zava, but the ship's
Oh, no,
fine.
if you got Zava already, go ahead and roll it. I'll do the
got
ship.
Zava. Control and security with a difficulty of 2.
Mm-hmm.
What's the ship's roll?
The ship is rolling weapons plus security. Hey, we got 2
And the
from
ship
Zava.
always has focus, right?
Yep, ship always has focus. All right, so look at that. You get some momentum.
Oh, sorry, guys.
Nah, it's okay. We'll take the first one. So yeah, you actually have 6 momentum and then 2 floating because you have phaser arrays. All right, so now we're going to get into the damage, and I swear after this point, Starship Combat gets super easy because this is the main things. Then after this, it's easy stuff. So for damage, the Adiona has phaser arrays, which means it has a grand total of, I believe it is 5 challenge die that it may spend, or that it is rolling for damage. Now, since this did come up in another game, if you want to spend your floating momentum, or any momentum really, you need to do it before the roll if you're, say, adding penetration, or if you are adding power loss, for example.
Hey, Commander, that's your call since you're driving Zav at the moment.
We'll go with some penetration.
Okay. It is. You already have piercing 2, which means for every effect you roll on those challenge die is a reduction of 2 resistance. But as you can see on the little chart there on the map, you can spend one momentum for 2 resistance.
That sounds very favorable.
Okay.
So would I just click on momentum, just draw 2 cards?
No.
No.
Basically, Galen would go down to 5, where we're actually already at, because as phasers, you automatically get 2 if you hit something. But it has to be used for that attack. You can't, bank it for anything.
Okay, so mechanically, what would I need to be hitting right now?
Mechanically, all you're doing is you're going to go to the challenge dice macro, and you're going to put in 5, and we're going to see what happens.
Doesn't the little icon, the Starfleet icon badge work under the weapons?
That's correct.
It might. Honestly, I haven't checked it recently.
Yeah, that's what that symbol is supposed to do, throw those challenge dice.
Yeah. Whichever is easiest for you, really. If you prefer doing it from the sheet, I personally like doing it separately, but whatever floats your boat.
I think I'm just not reading this right. So I'm clicking on the Starfleet icon, and I'm seeing 5 icons. Or am I looking in the wrong place?
Oh, no, we're looking at the actual sheet.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay,
you're not looking at
okay.
the Starfleet symbol on the map.
I understand.
Yeah.
So where's the challenge die macro on the sheet again?
It should be under the weapons, right-hand side, under the weapons category. If you click the little comm badge symbol, it should roll damage. Well, it's going to roll the weapons again, but we're just going to ignore it. But then you can roll damage.
I see. And I'm rolling phaser arrays.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so don't even worry about that. Just go ahead and click roll damage, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so piercing 2, so that is 2 resistance off. How many momentum were you spending for penetration?
I think I was spending 3.
Was it 3 or 2?
Was it? Actually, I don't recall, to be quite honest.
That's okay. Let's say 2 for the sake of argument. So that is a piercing total of 6. And
Do we get piercing from the Find Weakness?
yes, you did. I already am calculating that in.
Okay.
Now, the next question I have for you is, would you like to spend more momentum to do some bonus damage?
Yes, please.
Okay, so you can spend 1 momentum for 1 extra damage. And you have 3 momentum at the moment.
This might be a good might be a good opportunity to explain threat too.
Oh, yes. Well, I'll get to threat in a second, but the magical number in Star Trek Adventures when you're doing damage is 5.
Is 5.
So if you do 5 damage after resistance has come into play, you, in Starship Combat, cause a breach. Or if you were in regular, hand-to-hand combat, you would cause an injury. So in this instance, you could spend 2 momentum to do the 5 damage required.
I'll do so. What do I have to hit on roll 20?
That you just say, and Galen, since he's keeping track of it, He'll go down to 1 momentum.
Okay then.
And he might be muted. That might be why we haven't heard from him in a while. Yeah, I think he's muted.
Work to Galen. Come in, Galen.
Galen here.
Oh, there you are.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah. Down to 1 momentum, Galen.
I,
All right.
Everyone kind of started talking at once. I think I had a lag moment.
No, it happens. Okay, so I'm going to let you decide, since you rolled for Zava, where would you like to hit the Zenkethi ship? Usually you'd have to roll, but I feel like, again, this is your guys' first rodeo. I'm just going to give this to you free.
Well, since we still need to knock out their shields, then let's just hit their shields.
Well, shields are health. They don't actually have a system.
So I'm targeting a system.
Yeah, so you can target communications, computers, engines, sensors, structure, or weapons.
Target weapons.
Okay. All right, in that case, the Adiona, masterfully under the command of Zava, fires a burst of phaser fire towards the Fuego. And it strikes the Fuego right where the weakness was discovered in their shield array. And immediately, you see that there is a very small explosion in their port disruptor bank. And they are conceivably doing less damage the next time they fire. But that is your turn. So, we come back around to the Fuego. And the Zenkethi are bold, so they're going to try once more, and if it doesn't work, we'll see what happens. Okay, so again, the Fuego misses you completely as it fires, and the last thing it's going to do on its turn is it's going to turn, but it's not going to move quite yet. All right, and the Fleming is still sitting pretty, so we come back around to the Adiona's turn. So what would you guys like to do now?
Captain, next time we want to target a system, I can do an attack pattern. If I succeed till the beginning of my next turn, the difficulty of a ship's attack is reduced by 1. So
just be aware that reduction also applies to the enemy. You are able to hit easier, but you are also able to be hit easier.
Yeah, and it's the reverse for defensive maneuvers too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's fine, but I primarily want to be between us and the Fleming. So you can make the maneuver, but I still want us to be between those two.
Okay. So Mayweather, you being the helm officer, where would you like to go? The helm actions are on page 222 of Core.
I got the GM screen little handout up for helm actions. So
well, there you go.
I can maneuver up to medium range. So I just need to know where in between us and the Fleming, between the fuel and the Fleming, that the captain wants us to go.
All right, so you can move up to 6 hexes from where you are right now.
Yeah, you can see that red arrow I was drawing, right?
Yeah, but you have to hold it down, otherwise it just goes away very quickly. So yeah, you can go up to 6. So right about there, or are you going further?
That good, or one more, Captain?
Yeah, that's fine. That's what I was asking for.
All right.
And as long as the general directions of what I'm doing are covered, then you can fine tune however you see fit.
Okay. So, again, this was just mostly to get everybody slightly familiar with Starship Combat. We're going to turn it over to the narrative at this point, if that's okay with everyone.
Fine with
That's
me.
fine with
Fine
me.
with me.
Okay. So, from a narrative perspective, Mayweather puts the Adiona in between the Fuego and the Fleming. And you're now getting a hail from the Fuego. Seems like the Zenkethi feel like talking.
On screen.
So on screen, you do see a Zenkethi male, sort of that slumped over shape that is very large and imposing, but that doesn't translate very well to a view screen. But nonetheless, the Zenkethi individual on screen says, "The Zenkethi will no longer tolerate the Federation's blatant aggression in the Sabine Expanse and the surrounding space. You may have beat us this day, Starfleet, but know that the Typhon Pact will not stand for continued acts of aggression against the Zenkethi people." And then the screen shuts off. They have ended communication.
Well, that was prompt.
Are they still within weapons range?
You are within close range of them at the moment.
What's the status of their shields?
They've got about half shields.
I'm going to take the command turn at this point, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I'm going to give a direct order. Use my turn to give direct order. Direct tactical to fire at them again.
Okay. So again, this is kind of a mechanics thing. So you are at close range, and your phasers are optimal at medium. So it would be an additional difficulty to fire a phaser. So you would be at 3. Tactical has already acted, so that's a difficulty of 4.
Oh, so my using the command doesn't nullify that for this tactic?
It lets you assist them. But it is a way to have tactical fire again, yes. Because normally you only really get the one attack unless another bridge officer does it themselves. But if you want Zava to attack again, you have to order it. Or the commander has to order it. Either one of you two. So that said, a phaser attack would be at 4 difficulty. But if you wanted to say tractor beam, a tractor works at close range and is a tactical action.
Yeah, actually, I wasn't sure if that would be good if they still had shields if we tried to use a tractor beam, but I'm cool with that too. I just don't want them going anywhere. So tractor beam will work out fine.
Okay. In that case, Zava is still rolling a control plus security. This time the ship is assisting with structure plus security. And the difficulty is a 3 overall. And Captain, you are rolling a presence plus command as an assist.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and roll Zava this time.
Okay.
What was that for Zava again? Control
Security.
What? Okay.
All right, so the ship does not assist.
Tactical systems work as a focus?
Oh, yeah. All right, she gets the 2 successes. You need 1 more. So, Captain, if you roll yourself, and let's hope for a. Well, hold on. Zava's actually rolling 2 die, not 1.
Oops, I don't know how that happened.
Yeah. So let's roll for her again, and then we'll see where we're standing.
All right, control security. Oh, now it's asking for how many d20. So just 1 extra, right?
Yeah, just 1 extra. Okay. You got the successes you need, and if you still want to roll Captain for momentum's sake, you certainly can.
Let's see here. That is Command plus security, I believe.
Presence plus command. And you are only rolling 1 because you're assisting.
Out of curiosity, is there a focus with that?
For the captain?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's the first time I've seen it used on your shows.
I'm not seeing a focus that would apply for him. All right, so you get a momentum. So you're at 2 momentum. So narratively, and again, this is going to get easier as we go on, and Starship Combat may or may not come up. So narratively, what happens is Zava is able to lock a tractor beam onto the Fuego, and the Fuego isn't going anywhere. It is caught in your web, so to speak. Of course, it still tries to thrust her away and tries to pull away, but with that tractor beam, it ain't going anywhere.
All right, and then I'll raise up as an in character to out of character. XO, isn't there any sort of rules of engagement for firing on designated first aid or healing ships?
Out of character. Or what would Morgan know about that?
So, from what I understand, this attack is A, unprovoked, B, it's on a hospital ship, and C, all that combined is already bad, but I do also have to tell you that there is no, as far as I was able to find anyway, there is no formal sort of alliance between the Zenkethi people and the Federation.
And no rules of war, like no, like doctrine or anything else like that?
Not that I'm aware of, but obviously you could potentially hold your own code to them. I'm not going to stop you from doing that.
But this is also in unclaimed space. It's a neutral space.
That is correct, yes.
Alrighty, so let's see here.
So I would relay all of that to the captain.
Alrighty, so I will open the hailing frequency.
Okay. Zava says hailing frequencies are open, sir.
Zenkethi ship Fuego. This is Captain Williams of the Adiona. We really don't appreciate it when you start shooting at hospital ships to make a political point. So if you don't mind, hang out for a bit while we wait for somebody who can actually speak for you to answer why you're shooting on a harmless ship that can be no threat to you whatsoever. Or are the rest of your military that cowardice?
Roll me a... I think this would be another presence plus command. I'm debating whether diplomacy applies here. Sure. Let's have diplomacy apply as a focus. And
I have that focus.
Yeah, and I'm gonna make this difficulty a 2.
All right, and I'm gonna burn a point for this one.
Okay. So down to 1 momentum.
That rolled without focus, by the way. My mouse is double clicking.
Let's check. You would have gotten 4 successes, actually. So that is 2 extra momentum. So you're at 3, I believe. And yeah, again, the Zenkethi, shows up on the view screen and says, and that pause is actually in character, by the way. You want us to wait for further Zenkethi reinforcements?
Well, I mean, Federation ones are going to be on their way here too, considering we care about our sick and injured. So unless do you really want to make a larger issue of this? You do know that's a hospital ship, right? I would burn that into your eyeballs so that way, if you see this again, know that the threat that comes to respond to this may be way more beyond what your ship can handle. Or do you just want to say bye-bye now and let us finish the issue?
Another pause. If you let us go, there will be no further attacks on your hospital ships.
Thank you. and I'll just cut comms right there.
Okay. Do you let them go?
Give it like 10, 15 seconds.
Okay.
And then we'll send a message off to Starfleet informing them of the situation. And then as soon as that's done and we see their ship moving away, we'll touch base with the Fleming and check on their status.
Okay, yeah. So the couple seconds after the Adiona lets go of the Fuego immediately maneuvers right over to here, turns, and jumps to warp towards Zenkethi space.
I'm glad that's over. Bring us down to yellow alert just so that in case we need to respond to anything happening with the Fleming.
Okay.
I'd like to turn to the con officer and tell them to make sure, and our science officer, to make sure to keep that ship on sensors until it's out of the system.
Acknowledged.
Aye, sir.
All right.
And I'll make an update to the admiral's data pad or personal computer. Since she wasn't aware of this, I'll just basically write up a quick report while we're maneuvering.
Okay. So, you come up alongside the Fleming, and sure enough, once you're in position, you do get a hail from Captain Foran. And Foran, if you put it on the view screen, looks to be a human male. Looks to be a little bit farther along in age. He's definitely got the white hair going on. Very impressive beard, too. Probably should have gotten a token, but you can imagine. And he says, Captain, we appreciate the swift assist. Can't say I recognize your ship class, though.
Neither do I. It's brand spanking new.
Ah, well, that would explain it. I am Captain Foran, and you are?
Captain Williams, what's your situation over there?
Well, Captain, I'm pleased to report that your timely arrival made it so that the worst of our casualties is some plasma scarring and some burns, but we seem to be okay. It was mostly just sort of shaken up over here.
What was your next location that you guys were actually en route to?
We were on our way to Starbase 621 to deliver standard medical supplies, but honestly, I'm not 100% sure if that's a wise decision given what just happened.
XO, you mind checking the schedule? If we escorted this ship, how far would that put us off?
Checking his data pad really quick and assorted panels.
Okay. It'll take you maybe a day, maybe 2 days.
Will only take us about a day or two, but if I may, Captain, I do believe that Starbase 621 is in desperate need of medical supplies, especially being this close to the Zenkethi border. It's probably best that we have the ability to assist them while we're here.
I agree. Captain, if you don't mind, we'll be happy to escort you to your location once you're ready to go underway.
Well, I'm certainly not going to say no to an escort, especially after, I don't know if you served in the war, Captain, but I've learned the value of an escort no matter who it's coming from.
Well, I've had my share of spills. Don't worry. Us power rescuemen know when we're supposed to fight and when we're supposed to heal. This time, you heal. We'll take care of anything that comes our way.
Very good. I'd offer you a dinner on ship, but we're running around a little bit ragged at the moment. Our chief engineer was injured, so until he's up to full status, we're kind of just sort of waiting around for our normal engineers to fix everything. I believe our ETA towards departure is about 3 hours.
All right, then we'll stand by. I'll notify my department chiefs to touch base with you. Anything you need that we can assist with, we'll be happy to offer to you.
Thank you, Captain. Fleming out.
Good speed to you.
All right. So we now sort of enter into what I usually do at the end of my sessions, where I just sort of open the floor again to you guys to roleplay as you'd like. So is there any particular scenes people would like to get out of the way?
I guess we'd want to do that first officer's mess that I wanted to have with the XO.
Okay, yeah, that is a very important one. So let me put you in the mess hall. So the Adiona is, of course, a small ship. So the senior staff do kind of just share it with everybody else. But if you so wished, you could have the thing emptied, so it's just you two.
No, that's fine. I just want to be able to chat with him. I wasn't expecting to have my own dining room. It's not like we're in a galaxy class or anything.
Well, I mean, Jonathan Archer had his own dining room, so wanted to leave it as an option.
That was the first ship. They're just going with old traditions there. This might as well be a submarine the way this thing is built. So yeah, it's all tight quarters.
Yep, that's the feel I was hoping for. So yeah, you and Commander Morgan are sharing a meal, and we'll let you do your own scene.
All right, so I guess we'll walk in next to each other. It's like, all right, let's see how these replicators work. I'll do my standard test here. One piece of apple pie, warm.
Specify warm. There are approximately 671 variations of warm.
Let's say 135 degrees Fahrenheit.
All right, computer chimes and materializes a piece of pie.
Hey, Commander?
Well, that looks appetizing. But I'm gonna go my own way. Computer, one shrimp Creole, Southern style.
Specify Louisiana or other.
Louisiana.
All right, so good old shrimp Creole from the southern lands comes and materializes.
Yeah, they tell me I probably shouldn't eat too many of these, but this has always been my standard for how good a replicator is.
I can't fault you there, sir. In any case, shrimp Creole was the best hidden secret that I learned at the academy. Cisco's is a well-kept, hidden, not-so-hidden gem.
I'll be sure to try that one later. And I'll reach down and take a piece and eat it lovingly and move it around in my mouth. It's like, just standard fare, I guess.
Yeah, it's not like blowing your socks off, but
yeah, it's a standard replicator. I was just saying. I was like, is the science going to be better yet? Not quite.
Not quite.
Oh, so XO, how do you think the crew did?
Personally, I feel like they did quite well, considering the nature of the Zenkethi. And however, truth be told, Captain, I'm still uneasy about that specific interaction. I don't believe in coincidences.
Yeah, that is a little too odd.
However, if we can continue to keep guard on the medical ship until it reaches Starbase 621 and we oversee the offloading of medical supplies and nothing else, gets in the way of that, then I don't necessarily see cause for further concern.
Yeah, and the Admiral seems pretty happy so far, despite our small delay. Well, go ahead.
So, Captain, forgive me, but I've just been rather curious. Could you tell me a little bit more about your past missions?
Well, I guess so. Yeah, I don't guess I mind too much, but that last one was kind of rough. Yeah. Lost a bit too many people on that rescue mission that we got put on.
I mean, I can understand being in the rescue corps is absolutely difficult work.
Yeah, but I mean, it was like it was almost orchestrated that way. I mean, we lost 8 guys trying to rescue all the people on that planetoid. It's bad enough it was outside of M class, so we're all in exosuits and everything else. But I don't know. I try to block a lot of it out. I mean, I did my best, but still, losing that many troops still messes with me. Even if it is the planet trying to take care of us and not some hostile actors.
I understand. I don't mean to bring up any bad memories.
No, that's fine. You got to know this stuff. What about you in your last post?
truth be told, I'm more practiced in actual theory than application. This is my first assignment to a starship in quite some time. Previously, I was actually at Memory Alpha, just making sure to prepare myself for this Andromeda mission. It's been years in the making, and I just wanted to make sure I had every ounce of data available to me from all over the Federation. It's really weird being inside closed doors and studying first contact procedures for years on end. Nobody wrote the book better than people such as Captain Kirk and Captain Janeway. However, I'm just still uncertain what's out there.
Well, even though I'm in charge, I'm still a pararescueman. I'll be leaning on you a lot for that stuff, all right?
By all means, Captain, you can count on me.
Yeah, hopefully this cruise is not too exciting on the first few weeks. It'd be good to get these guys experience with just a normal day instead of just getting into anxious actions left and right while we're still on our way outside of our own galaxy, let alone Andromeda's.
With that, I can agree wholeheartedly.
And let's see if this thing's got any whipped cream. I forgot some.
Okay. All right. I'm taking that to mean that's the end of that scene. Okay. Anyone else have anything they want to get out of the way?
I'll just turn to Merrick, Lieutenant Merrick, and ask if he was bonded as a child.
No. Short answer. That's his only answer. No.
Actually, I have a question. Considering my character doesn't like playing by normal Federation rules,
Mm-hmm.
is there any way I can get into the camera system of the ship?
I mean, as chief engineer, that sort of thing you could do, but it might maybe raise an alert on tactical. Honestly, I'm not 100%. It would depend on what you're trying to do with the camera, I suppose.
Simply put, I'm just trying to get a uplink with the feeds. That's it. I'm not trying to like mess with anything. I'm just getting additional, just getting the information I would see from the cameras.
Okay. Yeah, you could set up such a feed.
So simply because I'm still wondering about our current VIP, I'm just trying to see on the camera if I can even catch a glimpse of someone I did not see in the meeting, or that I know of that wouldn't be in the meeting.
Okay. Noted. I will let you know if and when you see Andromeda.
All right. And how obvious would it be that I would be doing that, or is it not that obvious?
Why don't we make a roll out of it? If you could roll me a control and security, and because this will be maybe the last roll of the night, let's use some of my threat, and I'm gonna make it a difficulty 3.
And don't break my cameras.
And yeah, for anyone wondering, threat is basically GM momentum that I can spend on all sorts of things, and I keep that a secret from the players, but generally I start off with a set amount, and then depending on player actions, I might get more.
Question,
Standard is 2
why-
per player, so just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Question, why would it be security over engineering?
The reason it's security is because, in my mind, this is more to see if you do pop an alert at Tactical Station, rather than the actual act of tuning into those feeds. Basically, this is
All
you
right.
trying to do a quote-unquote stealth roll with the system.
And, all right. Okay.
Now, you do have 3 momentum, so you could spend that for 2 additional dice.
Would we lose it at the end of this?
Yeah, you're going to lose it anyway.
I'd actually do that.
Okay.
I didn't actually put that through just yet, so bear with me. I may have to do an additional triple roll,
Okay, that's fine.
or 2 rolls. And there's no focuses on this, correct?
Well, let's take a look. Do you think any of your focuses would apply? Let's see.
No, because I have experimental technology, ancient technology, and xenotechnology, and cameras are none of those.
Yeah, cameras are none of those. This is not the 41st millennium. Cameras are good.
I do not pray to the machine spirits and apply the holy oils.
Oh dear. All right.
So technically, I would be getting 3 rolls, correct?
No. With 3 momentum, you get to roll 4 dice total.
So command security 4d20.
Okay.
Ooh, 1 crit fail.
Yeah, so this is actually another good chance to introduce a mechanic, and that mechanic is determination. Now, I specifically didn't do it because I was actually hoping something like this would happen. So determination can be used in many different ways, and much like sort of how momentum starts at 0 and my threat starts at a certain number, every single player starts with 1 determination per mission. And I say that per mission because sometimes when we do back-to-back, it matters. Sometimes it won't. We'll play it by ear, but generally think of it per mission. And determination can be used to re-roll as many dice as you would like. And it can also be used to, say, keep initiative. It can be used to avoid an injury. But if you use it before the roll, you can have it count as 2 free successes. So in this case, if you would like to spend your determination, you could re-roll those 2 zeros.
So when would I be able to get the determination back, though?
You would get it back next session.
Then yeah, I'd fire up determination to reroll those 2.
Okay, so the only caveat is to use determination, you have to have a value that applies. So what would be your value that would be coming into play here?
Ooh, that's a hard one because my values are more around getting things fixed and or preventing the Borg from getting me back.
Mm-hmm.
Such as my mind is my own. I can always learn something from old tech, progressive maintenance. I could just hit it to try and make it work.
You know what? Sure. It's a silly roll, but sure, we'll roll with it.
It's just so dumb it might work.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, go ahead and redo the test. You're only rolling 2, though. All right, well, you get the other success you needed. So,
And I am allowed to, because I have the veteran perk, I can just do a challenge roll to get that determinant right back.
That's right. Thank you for reminding me.
And it's 1 challenge dice, and I have to roll and get an effect.
Correct. Nope, doesn't come back.
Nope.
All right. So, Havoc, you do a pretty good job of, tapping into the feeds and kind of looking for any suspiciously new personnel or someone that doesn't look like they belong, but for the moment, not seeing anyone. But the other good news is you're pretty damn sure that Lieutenant Zava is none the wiser that you're doing this.
Is it possible for me to just leave a back door that only I can get into?
I'm going to say again, as chief engineer, that would be your prerogative. Just let me know that's definitely what you want to do.
I'll just leave it for now. I don't want to risk security breach and getting the entire crew on me about going against protocol just yet.
Okay. Yeah, I foresee some interesting interactions with this crew. All right. Anything else?
Yeah, at the end of my duty shift, I'll look at my quarter assignment, and I'll glance at it and say, intriguing. And I go to my quarters.
Okay.
Am I expecting to see a Borg alcove?
No. Let's see. Where are you? Where did I put your token? There's your token. All right. So, you step on inside, and it's pretty cramped. There's 2 bunks. There's a console, and this is a door to a. Actually, I think that's your replicator. I think, much like a actual naval ship, actually much like a submarine, it is a shared restroom system. So somewhere else outside of your quarters is an actual restroom.
Yeah, standard is still sonic showers and the like, right?
Yeah, It's just that instead of, giving each quarters their own, they saved a lot of space by just sort of making a group one.
Yeah, of course.
Well,
I've
what I'll,
experienced many an open lavatory in my day.
what I'll do is I'll sit at the chair there and look at the council and do a little bit of reviewing today's observations and maybe light a little incense.
Okay.
And it's up to if Havoc shows up or not. We can cut it here. Otherwise, it's up to her.
Well, would Havoc show up at her quarters assignment, or should we move along?
Or actually, would we allow mixed quarters on the ship? Or
I mean, personally, I think Starfleet being the forward-thinking thing that we are told it is, I don't think it's that big of a deal, really.
well, we'll make it crew preference. So if they don't mind, they can check on there that there isn't a preference.
Yeah, there you go.
To be that guy, canon-wise, in Star Trek 6, when they showed the triple deck, they did show men and women bunking together on the bunks on the Enterprise. So
Yeah, there's precedence.
Well, I'll actually just stay up until she does arrive, and we'll keep it short soon. Basically, when Havoc does show, I'll just say, upper or lower.
Up to you, Havoc. You want top or bottom bunk?
Hmm. I'll take the top bunk.
Okay, that's good.
I immediately just climb into it.
All right.
And I would too. But
Is this the first time Havoc had to think about making a decision?
She usually works on sheer instinct half the time, so kind of yeah.
All right.
And we'll just end the session, I guess, with a question that would be kind of answered over time. I asked the Lieutenant Commander, "How do you regenerate?" Don't respond. Just
Okay.
I just look at him and just shake my head before turning on my side away from him.
Imagine that you maybe even go to the whole effort of sliding that cover across, just slowly across.
Just close.
All right. Actually, I think that is a very good way to end the session with a laugh. Okay, so that was a great first session 0, guys. Well, session 1 technically, but whatever. Of course, players, I would like you to stick around after the fact, but I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. So any of you watching live or on YouTube, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. It looks like this is going to be a continuing series like I hoped. So we will see these guys next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Other than that, I'm signing off. So bye-bye, stream.